Hello, everyone. Welcome back to at least my final cast of the MOR8 season. Today, my name's Toaster, and I'm here with my good friend.
Saruman of many colors, ladies and gentlemen, and while it may not be my last cast, without my honorable comrade in arms, Toaster, I can't say that I'm going to be taking up the mantle for many more. Toaster's been, kind of the brains behind this operation. He's the one that manages OBS. I'm just the idiot behind the snowball that talks a lot. So really, Toaster has kind of been the anchor of this cast. He's been the rock. He's been the reason that this was able to make it happen. So anybody that's willing to give some respect to Toaster in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, unsung hero of this cast.
Well, I appreciate those kind words, Saruman. It's always I gotta say, don't sell yourself short. Talking is hard, and I appreciate you being here to do most of the talking. But enough about us.
Just before we begin, I just want to say something. When you're as dumb as me and you have absolutely no filter, it's actually very, very easy to talk.
True. I don't know. You're not that dumb. But anyways, two teams tonight. We got Black Omen and 228 Blackwatch. So Saruman, are you familiar with the whole situation in NA Div A? Kind of what these two teams are fighting for?
That I am, Toaster. That I am. Right now, if you look at the scoreboards, things look bleak for Black Omen. They've only beat one team, and that was the Division B Bananas team that they fought at the beginning of the season. But the trick here is that Black Omen has one more Division B Bananas team left in round 6. That's going to be against 228 Death from Above, who, while looking very impressive in North America's Div B division, no Div B team has actually beaten a Div A team yet. So far, the decisions have been pretty resounding, as expected, since Div B is just a lower division. The pilots need more seasoning, the players need more experience, the strategies need more refinement, and the builds need more work. So from what you see, Black Omen still has what I would peg almost as a win on their hands. I'd be very hard pressed to expect Black Omen to lose that match against Division B Bananas, especially since second place is on the line. This match is going to come down to who wins second place. Right now, 228 Blackwatch looks like they have a pretty commanding, resounding lead. But that can all change if Black Omen takes it. If Black Omen comes away with a 3-2 decision, then they would tie 228 Blackwatch, and then they might actually have a chance to be up on points because Black Omen still has that final match against Division B Bananas. If 228 wins, a 4-1 or a 5-0, that's a commanding enough a lead for 228 to officially be crowned second place in their division. And they can very well pull it off. They dang near pulled it off the last time these teams met. 228 Blackwatch came away with a win, even though Black Omen did have slightly more kills, although kills aren't really that big of a deal. But Black Omen has to 3-2 Blackwatch, I believe, in order to really take the division, since they still have another match to pack it away. And that match can very easily be a resounding 5-0 or 4-1 against 228 Death from Above. So basically, if 228 Blackwatch doesn't walk away with a win today, they leave their fate in the hands of their Div B team. And that's not exactly something Blackwatch wants. They want to control their own destiny as much as possible.
Yeah, Blackwatch, they can seal it, like you said, they can seal it if they win, 4 or 5 games tonight, 4 or 5 drops, but any fewer than that, and it kind of comes down to how Black Omen does against the Div B team. And, as you were saying, I don't think any of these NA teams have dropped a single game this season to the Div B teams, so that's kind of a tall order. And, if you're a betting man, I think you're rooting for Blackwatch, you really want to see Blackwatch win, 4 or 5 games. The interesting case is, if Blackwatch wins 3 games and loses 2, and then Black Omen 5-0s their opponents in the Div B match, then we have a tie for points for second in NA Div A. So then we have to go all the way down to looking up and tallying up all the match scores across all the games to figure out who wins that tiebreaker, and I have not done that yet, so who knows?
The tiebreaker is a bit of a complicated process. I'm pretty sure Krasnopesky and Ash can flesh it out better than either of us can, but this is still a tall order for 228. Anyway, they kind of just came off a somewhat soul-crushing loss against Imperial. Imperial walked away with a very strong win, 4-1, highlighted by some of the best light play we've seen this season. Charlemagne, MVP for that match, securing the circle, winning light duel, Stealth Simrog following closely after, and then the last match was kind of just like a meme match from what I've heard. where just basically Lerm Atlas is abound. Not to take away anything from Blackwatch, they need as many wins as they can. They need to keep their point advantage up, but Lerm Atlas is, not exactly something you'd expect in comps. So the onus is definitely on 228 to perform. However, they can do it. They have beaten Black Omen in their very first matchup. The wins were very strong, and 228 came in with some very inventive ideas. Also came in with some pretty strong light play. Panic, one last Dom, Need a Pickle. They performed very well. And perhaps I'm just a homer because I was a light pilot for so long, but in my opinion, light lances really help decide teams. So I feel like that they're pretty evenly matched. You look at the heavy side, look at Archon Adam Steiner, Gilakuda, you look at their roster, they still have some of the best range traders in the game. Admiral Korean Jesus, also very good. Black Omen, however, still has a lot of talent. They got Pasha, Lizzie. They also have sorry about that. They have Jay-Z and Lerm God. Jay-Z, he's going to be bringing the Stalker magic. However, from what I heard, Toaster, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Krasnopesky may not be making an appearance tonight.
Yeah, there's some whisperings going on. Some of these time zone issues maybe coming back to bite Black Omen in the butt. They're kind of an assortment of players from all around the world, and that makes scheduling hard, but we'll see. They've definitely got a pretty stacked and I'd say deep roster. I think they've even added Bearclaw to their roster, a well-known Twitch streamer, for any of you in chat. So they've definitely got a deep enough roster that I don't think it'll hurt them one way or another. I think it's just going to come down to, who fights best. And Blackwatch did show last time that, they can definitely beat Black Omen. They just need, because of their pretty hard loss to EMP last night, they really want to see a 4-1 or a 5-0 decision in their favor if they want to lock up second place, though.
And it's not even that. What Black Omen needs to keep an eye on is that 228 is going to be kind of like a wounded animal. Even though that the morale is probably a little lower, they didn't get the decision that they wanted. They're coming into this match with the idea that, hey, you know what? We did what we can against EMP, but we really need to unload all the bullets. We need to empty the golden gun. We have to empty all the cartridges, pull out all the stops, because our chance to at least take second place is on the line. Both teams have had good matches against EMP. Now one team or the other wants the opportunity to say, hey, you know what? We were right behind you guys, and we're going to take you next season.
Yeah.
And I think that it's something that Black Omen and 228 want. The title comes with a certain amount of respect, especially with the idea that, they were right on the heels of EMP. EMP was a very tough team, and they had a lot of skill. Charlemagne, Self, Stimrog, Bowser, Chimera, McGoat, Reckless, they all proved their top-level pilots by winning Division A, and winning Division A fairly soundly at the end, coming strong with a very late time push. But that remains to be seen. They definitely showed cracks this season. Both Black Omen and 228 have performed very admirably against this Imperial team. This Imperial team has shown that they can be beaten, but the question is, what team is in a better position to beat them? Well, that's what second place could help decide.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about EMP, though. But yeah, I mean, 228, yeah, definitely. They've got some incredibly strong pilots. I've been playing with them some recently myself. Archon Adam Steiner, Korean Jesus, a.k.a. Mikado Soul. They've been around for a while. They know what they're doing, and they can definitely they're definitely no slouches. I think every team though in this NA division has probably shown some cracks compared to previously, though. Maybe a little bit of burnout from MWO, the World Championship, that sort of thing. But
Speaking of which, let's put a little bit of a pick right now. Who do you think is going to win?
Who do I think is going to win?
I'm putting you on the spot. Who do you think is going to win?
It's such a hard decision. Both of these teams, I think technically speaking, 228 is maybe the better team. They just they work together so well. But at the same time, 228 as a team, they don't adapt to change very well, is how I would describe them. They kind of tend to get caught out by some kind of off kilter strategies. And I think if I was a betting man, I'm gonna have to put my money on Black Omen just because. Yeah, they're kind of new. They haven't all played together that much compared to some of these other teams, but they've got some really solid pilots, and I know they've been doing their homework just from what I've seen. I've played with some of their pilots myself too. So I think
All right,
my money's
Toaster,
on Black Omen.
before
What about you?
you got Black Omen, what about me? Well, tell you what. I will tell you what I think on this match. But first, let's get that map band going. Lermgod is calling for it. It seems like 228's ready for it.
All right.
I'll let the teams know. Let me know when you're ready. We'll get this going.
I'm ready to go, so they can go ahead and begin. So I believe last time I wasn't casting this matchup, but last time they ended up going to Rubelite in a pretty resounding LRM win for Blackwatch on one of the drops. So I wonder if we'll end up revisiting that map. Seems like a lot of times these matchups, like teams just kind of want to play what they want to play. So as always, Terra Therma, one of the first maps to get banned. No real big shocker there.
And you know what? Those Lerms definitely helped 228, but now with the recent patches lowering LRM health, that might actually be a detriment. 228 might go a little bit more standard range strats. And how is the rest of the map?
Viridian Bog is gone. Not going to see that one. Rubelite gets banned out by Black Omen, though. So Black Omen banning Terra and Rubelite. Blackwatch takes out Alpine. So it looks like we're headed over to River City. So it's another pretty popular map this season. Seen a lot of like really strong DACA pushes, some kind of weird shenanigans over Capo with the lights. You're pretty, I'd say, usual fare, but be interesting to see how it plays out.
All right, now for my pick, Toast.
What's your pick?
You're probably going to surprise me because, you know me. I have loved being a rival for 228 for a long time, but my pick is going to be 228.
Oh.
I think 228 Blackwatch has a very good chance of winning this match, and you know why?
Why? Why do you think they're going to win?
I think the 228 is going to win because they want this. They want this more than any other team. 228 came very close to taking first place. Very close. Their match against Black Omen, was one of the most impressive matches I've ever seen from them. And sure, Black Omen has very skilled pilots, but I think Gillicuda, Archon Adam Steiner, Admiral Kreen, Jesus, Chodok, they are going to prove that they deserve this second place slot and that they deserve first place over at the WC. This is 228's attempt at a resurgence. They've lost a lot of great players. They lost Defunct, they lost Chrisman, they've lost Queenblade, but that doesn't matter. 228 keeps rebuilding and reforming itself every single year, and I think 228 says, or at least wants to say, that no amount of changes can stop them from competing. This team, despite losing its talent, has been playing some of the best MWO I've ever seen it play. And they really are coming together. It feels like that they have an identity. It feels like they have strategies. They know when to adopt to range. They know when to adopt to trades. They know how to adopt to Lerm strategy. You say that they're less flexible. I actually think they're more flexible because they can adopt their mech decks in very different ways, and they're very unconventional in their tactics. And I think that, along with their experience, along with their drive, along with potentially maybe even the fact that they want it maybe a little more than Black Omen, because Black Omen's kind of the new kid around the block, whereas 228 Blackwatch has been around for a long time, and judging by how they're playing, it looks like they're going to stay around for as long as Mech Warrior's around. I think Blackwatch is going to take this.
All right, so I'm looking around at mechs. I've just glanced at chassis. I can't really see builds that easily. Right now, Black Omen opting for 3 linebackers, 3 annihilators, a Direwolf Prime, and a Piranha 1. I guess that's a lot of AC2 spam on their assaults, and those linebackers are probably some sort of brawl mechs. What do you see on 228's side? Oh, we got some trades.
Interestingly enough, 228 is opting for the ER Large Laser Annihilator. This is actually a favorite of Jay-Z, of Lermgod. They say that this mech has a lot of alpha damage. Lizzie likes it too. Oh, yeah, so this is very interesting.
Right now, 228 just rushing in there.
A lot of damage, though. This is not good.
And the Black Omen linebacker is kind of playing in between. Jay-Z taking a lot of fire here, flanking way out left in water. It looks like he's trying to just draw the 228 push, but gets killed pretty early for that.
However, Lizzie trades it off by killing Archon Adam Steiner. That's not good. He was a very fresh mech for a while, and Black Omen's laying down the pain on these Ream trains. Dom 925 goes down very quickly. Dogmeat and Kondo are still weak, however. These DACA trades are absolutely insane, and it looks like the linebacker push over in Black Omen has managed to get into the 228 mechs a little bit. This push is going to be disastrous. Admiral Korean Jesus might go down right here. Chodok the Potato Hunter and Gillicuda are very fresh, but it looks like there's not much they can do to stop this. Bear Claw brings down Admiral Korean Jesus. Jesus, Killakuda might go down as well. Panic Button and his Bushwhacker is pretty much stripped. And right now, it looks like that this match could very well go to Black Omen. They have the numbers advantage, and it looks like that ER Large Laser Annihilator that Lerm God and Lizzie like on their side is really starting to do some work as well. Panic Button, it destroys Bear Claw, but the numbers advantage is still solidly within Black Omen's favor. Lizzie takes down Killakuda, and yeah, I would say this goes to Black Omen.
Yeah, it's just they got too stalled out by those linebackers. You know, you can't ignore those linebackers, but maybe you just try and turn around your blood ass. The Black Omen Assaults have just had too much time to sit back there farming with their AC2s and ER larges. Dario's somehow still alive in his little machine gun piranha, making life miserable for Jiffy and Totok. Looks like Panic Button might be stripped. Oh no, he's got a rack. Ooh, a rack Bushwhacker of some sort. I'm not sure what weapon exactly he has.
He was definitely bringing the DACA. I want to say he brought 2 Rack 5s. That's the Bushwhacker we've been seeing in this meta comp so far with the Bushwhacker with DACA. Either that or they'll put UAC 10s or AC 10s on it. Dose of those. And Black Omen comes in with a convincing win.
Yeah, it's a good start for them tonight. But you know, this map is a little fickle. I think it's, you know, they were talking about it being kind of rock, paper, scissors last night. But anyways, what do you see from the scoreboard here?
What I see is Lerm God and Lizzie each doing almost 1,000 damage. Krasnopesky and Kondo. Krasnopesky 550 and his Annihilator. Kondo 640 and his. Bear Claw, Dogmeat, and Jay-Z. Their linebackers died and didn't do a lot of damage, but they were the sacrificial lambs that assisted in making sure that the linebackers, that the Direwolves and the Annihilators were able to continue their range trades unharassed. Meanwhile, on 228, the damage is much lower, but probably a little more focused. One Last Bite, 518. Todak, 435. Killakuda, 364. Admiral Korean Jesus. Archon Adam Steiner, only 63 damage. That's not a good look. But if there is a team that can bounce back, it's 228. This was not a great start for 228, but Black Omen on top now, but 228 still can take it away as we are now heading to domination on HBG Manifold, which is a map that's a little controversial because of that center cap point. You want to go into why?
Yeah, so HBG is a pretty good staple. I enjoy that map on Conquest, but let me open up the map strat here real quick. HBG on Domination is a little bit funky because there's no real way, a real good way to get teams from sitting in the basement, right? In the basement, if you're all familiar in chat, that is not the draw tool. It only has these 4 entrances.
Pick the right crayon,
right?
Toaster.
Yeah. Yes, pick the right crayon.
All right. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
So 228 has 228 is team 2, which I believe is actually the slower side to get into the circle. I'm not entirely sure about that. But either way, if one of the teams chooses to sit underneath in that little the garage or whatever you want to call it, there's no real way to force them out there. Because you can't get like very long angles. It's hard to shoot mechs when they kind of sit in these corners. Let me wipe this up there. These 4 corners, you can just kind of sit your mechs around these 4 corners, and it's really hard to trade with them in there. So this map, this game mode can end up going really long just based on like one team sitting down there in a brawl deck and the other team not wanting to push out, right? If you're at a brawl disadvantage, you don't want to have to push into like a very small, closed, confined space like that. So it's a hard map to play on Domination for sure. I think maybe the league is going to need to reconsider this map on Domination next season.
I think they wanted to play it on Domination because HBG Manifold as a whole for a map is pretty balanced, and we've seen a lot of Conquest on this map.
Yep.
So they figured that perhaps they could mix it up a little bit by bringing something that we haven't seen. We've seen a lot of HBG Manifold Conquest. We haven't seen a lot of HBG Manifold Domination, and we've actually seen kind of Mercstar kind of set the template on how to beat this basement strategy. They essentially had Rain Mechs. Whoa, okay, that was a little trippy. Sorry about that. Let me fix this. They kind of had range mechs taking different positions, spreading themselves out a little bit all over, and basically attacking these interior areas with as much range fire as they can, putting damage down, hopefully weakening them enough until a brawl push was able to be called, or forcing the team that was sitting in downstairs to essentially push out because they're essentially bleeding armor and mechs, and they don't want to settle down on a tie because they're just in a disadvantageous position. So what we've seen is that basically the trading team will try and attack these angles, these corners of the basement that people hide in, try and attack people from different angles that hide within this walled section here that's under the HBG manifold that covers the center point of theta, which is normally there. And I think that's what we might see teams like 228 and Black Omen do now. Stimraw kind of hinted at this kind of attritional warfare in the Discord, the MWO comp Discord. He said that generally people had a misunderstanding of how to attack this position. And I can't say I disagree. It's definitely been done before, but many teams are so used to the traditional way on how the map was played, where you kind of just seed the bottom, which is theta, and then cap around it to try and get people out of position, that people forget that there are ways that you can snipe inside. And let's not forget that even though the inside bunker has the advantage of being able to drop strikes at will on people on top, thus doing damage without even exposing themselves, which some people would say is a bit unfair. At the end of the day, if you're down here in the basement, you're not going to get a lot of great trading lanes here because you have to expose yourself a lot, and the terrain here is very choppy from these hiding positions. For instance, trying to shoot someone from, say, the cover over here into, say, Delta 4, it's very easy for your lasers to get clipped on the pillars surrounding your position over here. The terrain isn't necessarily favorable on the inside because there's definitely little creaks and cracks that can kind of, block fire and stop proper trades from happening.
Yeah, you can definitely do it. You're just playing a little bit with fire there. If you overcommit trading, then maybe your team gets pushed. But yeah, you're right. You definitely can, peek in there, do a little bit of scratch damage. You just got to be real careful and, make sure you don't get like legged or something by a stray alpha from a mech you didn't see while you were peeking in, that sort of thing. And definitely, like, as far as the team pushing out, it's another factor that makes this hard is, if your team doesn't put any mechs on the wall and just decides to go all basement, then it's really hard to motivate your team to push out into that. We actually saw White Knight Legion the other week. I would say throw a match. I believe it was against Mercstar, because they pushed out and tried to get all the mechs off the wall, but they actually pushed out too far and abandoned the circle in doing so and lost the match because of it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure these two teams have some interesting things planned for us. Black Omen was the team that against Imperial on Solaris City brought 3 stealth Phoenix Hawks and dumped them way up high on top of some buildings to try and get a gank. So they might try something sneaky this time too.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. For all the times I harp on for the inventiveness of 228, Black Omen has definitely brought some tricks up their sleeve too. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the plan is, but 228 has definitely been very cagey about this drop, so I'm very interested in seeing how they play it. Black Omen is, they haven't really said anything. 228 hasn't either, but just the way that they kind of talk about this drop, it feels like that they have kind of certain parameters going on and that they have a way to play it, that they have, and that they have something up their sleeve and that they're confident about it. But showing is better than talking, so let's launch this baby.
Yep. And so, just in case anyone's a little bit confused about the map choices tonight, this is a drop from week 4 or round 4, whatever you want to call it, that was postponed a little bit, much to, I don't know, maybe my pleasure at this point, because it's ending up being a very important match for the standings in this league.
Yeah, well, we really can't complain. We've always wanted to cast this. We're sad it got pushed back, but you know what? At the end of the day, we're still casting it now. We still have the wonderful gentlemen or gentlewomen, no bias intended, and scholars of the MechWare online community, both comp and casual, joining us in the viewing of this wonderful tournament. I honestly can't think of a better way to spend my night before I have to go to work in 2 hours after this drop is completed, most likely.
Oh no, Armand pulling an all-nighter again. He just got home.
Yeah, I know, right? Like Tosa can tell, I literally just got home at 9:30. I was rushing to the PC so that way we could talk about this match, and I'm going to be rushing right out again. But anyway, enough about me. Let's get to the teams. I'm a poet and didn't know it. Sorry. Stopping now. Continuing.
What
Navid
do you
A1 with the
see?
Wolfhound 2. Sorry about that. Kondo with the Grasshopper 5N with 8 medium pulse lasers. That's very interesting. And more Grasshoppers. Lerm God Grasshopper 5.8 with the 8 medium pulse laser. Lizzie, 3 large pulse lasers in the Dragon Fang. That's actually a classic staple build. That used to be pretty strong when the Dragons first got their buffs. Bear Claw breaking out the 7 medium pulse laser build for the Roughneck A. Dario, Piranha 3, JZ, Com 1D. Does that have stealth armor? No, it doesn't. Okay, so not completely unconventional. And then on the other side, what we have is 228 bringing out the laser deck with some linebacker support. Totok and One Last Bite breaking out linebackers with medium pulse lasers. Dom 925, Urban Mech K9. Is that a longer range Urban Mech? Nope. 5 medium pulse lasers. Panic Button bringing das Flea. The Flea 17, Admiral Korean Jesus. Urban Mech 60L. I'm very sad that none of these Urban Mechs have large lasers. And Gillicuda breaking out the Nova A. So it looks like both teams are just kind of jockeying for position right now. Look at Panic Button brazenly sitting at the bottom of the circle in his tiny little flea hiding.
Have you seen?
Look at that spot where he's hiding. It's a cute little crevice that only the flea can fit in. That's actually very interesting. 228 is essentially going to be down a mech, but it means that Panic Button is practically invisible. Look at that paint scheme. Look at that dedication to the circle. Incredible. This is interesting.
Have you seen what the rest of the 228's been doing? They've all jumped up on the wall. They went up to spine. Now they're shooting one of the gens to get the time back in both or neither team's favor, I guess. And meanwhile, Black Omen is just kind of sitting underneath with all their mechs. This will be interesting to see. I don't think they'll ever really find Panic Button. Is an interesting strategy on their side. So, maybe I spoke too soon, saying a little 228 was a little too content in their this kind of plain basic strategies. They're definitely being the team to bring something weird to this match. All those linebackers had jump jets along with the urban mechs, and they just hopped on up.
Makes you wonder, can we see if Panic Button has science in it? No, we can't, because he powered down. So Panic Button is fully committed to this idea that he's just going to sit in this circle and basically be this turret, and that 228 is basically going to accept potentially a tie, but One Last is being really, really ballsy right here. Excuse the language, Twitch chat, but look at him. He is the only mech that is on the ground right now, shooting in with medium and large lasers. I was wrong, actually. I thought the linebackers had medium pulse lasers. They have medium and large lasers, so it makes this range strategy that 228 has employed much more sensible with their builds. And my goodness, I think that basically One Last is just trying to act as the bait, seeing if he could potentially draw Black Omen out for the push. And this looks like a very good setup, but one thing 228 does not necessarily have is pokers from all sides, so they're not going to be able to attack all the angles of the HBD and really bring down the percentages fast enough unless they commit more mechs downstairs, to similar to what One Last Bite is doing. And interestingly enough, the linebacker prime is jump jets. In all honesty, I completely forgot the linebacker could even put on jump jets. Shame on me.
Yeah, those loyalty linebackers came with side torsos and a CT that you can add some jump jets to the linebackers. It's a lot of fun. It costs you some structure and I believe some hard points, but they seem to think it's worth it. They've done it on the, I believe one of them's done it on the prime, or two, let's see. I'm looking at the scoreboard. They've got 2 primes and an H. So I believe the primes just have the 2 side torsos, and the H might be the loyalty CT if I'm correct. But yeah, Black Omen just kind of chilling down here. +1 gameplay, says Gyakuda. And yeah, it doesn't look like Black Omen really wants to do anything. They're not even coming close to these entrances. I know at one point Jay-Z, he darted across one in his commando and took 3% damage, but that's not that much. Meanwhile, the strikes have started to be dropped. Looks like Lizzie dropping one on the corner right above him. One Last getting real close here in this entrance, but deciding to duck out. He, even if he baits a push right now, his team is so spread out on the wall. I'm not sure it would be advantageous for 228 exactly. I mean, yeah, I'm sure Black Omen will probably never be able to reach these mechs on the wall, but at the same time, if they pick a kill on One Last Bite and then get back in cover, I believe they would.
They would, but the problem is that and that's kind of what Black Omen might be gambling for. I'm not sure if they're trying to survey the area or not, but the biggest problem with 2-2-8 strategy right now is that they don't have enough range traders to force Black Omen to come out. It's just one last bite doing the poking, and it's going to be a problem that's going to persist unless they commit more linebackers to trying to force Black Omen out by doing more consecutive trades, thus giving them a bigger reason to push out. Then Black Omen can just very easily sit in the tunnel. However, at the same time, they commit more linebackers to the basically the floor of HPG Manifold to poke in, and they lose more mechs on the wall and can potentially lose more to any brawl push that Black Omen commits to. So it's definitely a delicate tap dance, but it feels like 228's dancing more on the side of caution than they are to the side of victory. One Last Bite is trying to do everything he can to bait 228, short of taking his pants off and waving his private areas in their face.
Dario just takes a big hit from One Last Bite down to 81% in that Piranha. Dario, I guess, caught a little bit repositioning. It does seem like One Last Bite's doing some serious work in that linebacker. Let me look and see. Heck.
Dario is almost completely cored from the back. His left shoulder is orange, and his rear CT is yellow going on orange. So one more bad shot like that, and it could very well cost Black Omen. But it makes you wonder if Black Omen is trying to do a little baiting themselves, maybe putting some weaker mix out to try and see if they could bait One Last to be more aggro. And then after that, we see the wonderful wit of both teams. Admiral Korean Jesus saying he's going to have a sandwich. Jay-Z asking if it's avocado. Lizzie saying at least One Last Bite is having some fun.
So talking braiding Lizzie's hair too.
Which is interesting since Lizzie's hair is shorter than mine, so I'm not sure how that works. If he can, he's a braiding genius, but okay.
Yeah, he's still getting some pretty good trades in there. Kondo down almost 10% on his Grasshopper. I'd wager that's mostly CT based on the burns I've seen. But yeah, neither team seems to be in any rush. I unfortunately didn't do the math on how ties would affect, who takes second place. Maybe 228 did the math and decided all they need is a couple of ties and maybe one win, and they can take the division. So,
and now we see the complaints rolling out. Ouch. Basic call out to Ash and Krasnopesky, who are the ones who came up with these maps in the first place. In Australia world, this map is upside down and wide open. Todoc dropping the Australia jokes. Love hearing those. But I can't necessarily disagree with what they're saying. This is an ironclad strategy by 228 with Panic Button just sitting here and acting as a turret to keep the clock locked in 228's favor. Meanwhile, 228's just posted on the walls. There's really nothing Black Omen can do. If they know that these wall mechs are there, they're not going to push out since there's no brawl they can win. But at the same time, 228 really can't push in, especially not with the mech composition they chose.
Yeah.
And 228 is definitely not going to lose. So it's just, but at the same time, 228 might be a little bit more desperate to make a play happen since they're the ones that are down in this series.
Oblivion SK has also come down in his linebacker now, so maybe they've begun getting a little bit impatient, but no real major commitment there. These linebackers can run out and probably get back up on that wall pretty easily again if they make it back to spine like they did earlier.
And interestingly enough, from what we're seeing is that basically 228 is kind of going with the idea of how to counter this. They're bringing a little more firepower to the mix to try and see if they can get a pick. Oblivion SK is probably called to action to see if they can get more damage down on Black Omen. And let me tell you something, the picks on the lights may actually be the most important ones, but I do like the angles that the linebackers are choosing. They're attacking opposite areas of the HPG's upper area. They're not attacking similar angles, like one's not attacking left while the other one's attacking center or east, other one's attacking north. They're attacking north, south, east, west, which kind of probably makes the angles a little more interesting for Black Omen to try and defend against. Oh wow, that airstrike came close to Panic. If that was on him, then that could have spelled disaster for 228's strategy. But still, Panic hasn't been found out at all. Just sitting here with his flea.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever gonna find him unless he powers up. He doesn't have stealth or anything. He's just powered down because he can still, I believe, cap while you're powered down. I'm not sure. I don't know how that
You do
works.
cap while you're powered down,
Yes,
yes.
okay. So yeah, you can't cap while you're stealth, but you can cap while you're powered down, which basically means he's even more invisible because you don't have the telltale ECM or counter or jamming to kind of let people know you're there. Last
Makes you
bite,
wonder if he even has ECM on that. Just, err on the side of caution and make sure that
don't
no one can question him,
yeah, I don't
question his
think
position.
I'm not familiar with Flea chassis, but I'm pretty sure the 17 is the one with all the lasers that doesn't get ECM. But I don't think he does. I think if you were planning on doing this, I don't really see why you would bother with ECM if you're just gonna be shut down anyway.
Yeah, he'd probably he'd probably try and fit the most amount of lasers as he can, so that way, in case it devolved into a brawl, Panic Button would be able to do the most damage. And man, the Flea is actually pretty insane in a brawl. We've seen a lot of good light pilots take advantage of that mech in ways that players can only imagine. And right now, once again, one last trying to get the trades out. It feels like, however, that these trades are a bit more disjointed. Oblivion SK is no longer traded in conjunction with One Last Bite, which is not what they need. They need both One Last and Oblivion SK to be trading at the same time to try and shift the positions of Black Omen. This is way too conservative gameplay for 228. The game is the gauntlet is in their arena. That's where it's been dropped. They have to be the ones to make the moves in this. They can't count on Black Omen being the ones to push out. They really have to force the issue. And right now, it feels like they aren't doing enough to do that.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'd say One Last trades were going well pretty early on, but after a little bit of repositioning on the Black Omen side, they've started trading back, doing a little bit of scratch. They don't quite have the range that those linebackers have, so I think they're still losing. But with only 3 minutes left on the clock, I think both teams are just going to opt for a tie here. I don't. Like I said, I haven't done the math. I don't know how a tie affects who takes second place in this division, but neither team willing to try.
While this match is going on, I'm reading chat. Just call me Ash. Just saying if I was casting this, I'd mute myself, put on a replay of last week's cast, and come back when something started. That's actually a good idea. I wish I thought of that, so that way I could get a nice nap in, but unfortunately I'm not as smart as our residential Australian administrator. But yeah, right now One Last Bite is further losing these trades, down 78%, and the percentages aren't nearly as bad, I guess.
Big burn on Lizzie though. Lizzie down to 78% as well now. Lizzie and Bearclaw have just hugged up right behind this column on the corner to try and cut off angles that this linebacker can poke at him.
Oh man, Oblivion, however, Todak, however, taking some sick angles in his linebacker, along with Oblivion SK. He was making some pretty insane shots against Lizzie too. So 228 is definitely not want for accuracy, but man, this looks like it's going to be a draw right now. 2 minutes left, unless they really got an impactful kill on a mech. I don't think anything's going to happen, and I don't believe that there's enough damage on Black Omen's team overall in order for the range deck that 228 brought to make an impact. However, they're definitely getting a lot more aggressive. It just seems like it's too little too late. Jiffy and Gyakuda taking positions in the Nova, trying to put down some shots as well. Todak, the Potato Hunter, grouping up with One Last Bite. But yeah, it looks like that no move's going to be made. Panic got struck. That's interesting.
Only takes 5% though, so he's probably relatively fine in that Flea. Black Omen would have seen the hit markers, but they probably just thought it hit One Last Bite or something. I doubt they will ever figure out that Flea is sitting up there. But yeah, we're just waiting this one out, it seems. Neither team's going to move, I don't think. And with only 1 minute and 20 seconds left, I doubt that Black Omen can even try and pick a kill, or 228 vice versa.
You know what, though? I will say I do love this strategy from G2A. Putting Panic Button here was a stroke of genius. This was brilliant, especially everything down to his paint scheme screams how much they put into this drop and how much they wanted to win. So credit where credit's due. It was definitely very entertaining to see this tiny little Flea just hiding in its little corner. But yeah, I think right now we're at 50 seconds left. 228 doesn't look like they're forming up to make a push. So I think that this match is going to go into a tie, I guess, a draw. No mechs killed, no points really given. Yeah, Dom's just shooting the generator for fun, I guess, target practice. But yeah, this match goes into a draw, and this might not be what 228 needs. They need to make this lead convincing if they really want to take games away from Black Omen and take this second place position. Even though this was a draw, I definitely say this is a win for Black Omen, since now the best result 228 can walk away with was 3 wins, and then they're kind of leaving the fate of their second place division in the hands of 228 Death from Above, Black Omen in these later drops as well. So I'm not exactly sure if this was the best decision.
Yeah, I'm not sure it necessarily works out in 228's favor though, because definitely isn't as good as a win. Both teams only get 3 points, whereas you get 5 for a win and 2 for a loss. So you're only increasing your score by 1. But yeah, I don't know. We can look at the scoreboard. It's going to be pretty boring. Gyakuda, 10 damage, 10 whole damage. Lizzie, 157. Lermgod, 34. 16 in the Commando and Javelin, and 401 in One Last Bite. So One Last Bite.
You know what? You got to give him credit. He was trying his darnest to make it work, but it just wasn't happening. And I think most of Lizzie's damage actually came from trading with One Last Bite. So yeah, it was basically kind of like a very passive, inconclusive 1v1 against the two of them, since they were really the only guys shooting. But yeah, and like I said, I agree with you, Toast. Like, I don't think 228 really wanted this decision. This is not what they had in mind.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it works in their decision because it denies Black Omen a win, but I'm not really sure. Because last time these two teams played, which is kind of what's defining this league. 228 only won 3-2, so basically now if you look at how these teams have played each other, they've each won 3 drops, and that's not exactly a differential you want. But yeah, and I've looked at the more detailed scoreboard. A lot of team damages out there. People rubbing legs against each other, I guess. But yeah, nothing really to say about that map.
You know what? Rubbing the legs, sometimes you just got to do it, Just share that team love, share skin, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but, some teams are into that. And you know what, power?
So for my scoreboard, I'm just going to put in, each team won a half a drop there, right? I don't know how to do it, but... Seems good enough for me, so I don't know. We can go to the map strat, I guess, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah, they sat and camped. The end.
They sat and camped. The end. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was an interesting spot. That who was it? Was it Panic Button in the Flea? And you're just sitting up on that little ledge right above the exit, right there. No one probably is ever gonna find that mech, unless they're looking real close. Meanwhile, the rest of 228 just walked all the way up here to ramp, jumped across, and then spread out on the wall. Meanwhile, Black Omen went in and hid in the corners. Yay, HPG. Yeah, so HPG, I mean, I don't know. One Last Bite did his best to try and pick a kill with that linebacker, and he almost got the Piranha when the Piranha tried to run across. That would have been disastrous for Black Omen, so... good on him for hitting that shot, but it was not quite enough. So neither team coming out of that mat drop with any advantage. We're gonna have to flame them with that if we get an interview. What are you guys doing? This is lame. Do it for Twitch chat. Go fight. But
we really can't give them any grief though, because they're playing to win.
Yeah, they're playing to win, but fortunately on this map with this game mode, it didn't end up being very fun. Kind of reminds me of the old skirmish games where you'd have just one team with a firing line of dire wolves and laser vomit clan mechs on each side of the map, just neither team willing to push each other, because back in the day, skirmish was very one-sided if you ever have to push.
Yeah, because of... Well, even pushing was still very hard. The wall strat on HPG was always very strong, which is probably why people thought it would all be strong in domination. So 228 is kind of mixing a little of what they knew with a little of what they didn't know. The part that they didn't know is that the Flea in its tiny little hitboxes could fit in that one location, but the wall was always extremely popular and powerful. Odinsteed kind of introduced the wall to Dropship 5, and it's been almost a bit of a staple of that of dropship 5 strategy here for quite a while, and it's been a staple of a lot of team strategies for quite a while, because you really can't be engaged upon in that wall. You have high ground, and having high ground is advantageous because you get to choose the engagement. Like, nobody can really rush you. Your position's never compromised. There's no grenades in MechWarrior Online, so it's not like somebody could lob something up there short of an artillery strike, but most of those are used to engage the basement or engage long-range targets. So high ground is just as strong in this game as it is in any game, and that's why 228 thought that the wall strat would work. But at the end of the day, covered it before. Like, this isn't the decision 228 wanted. Like, I think that they needed to get more aggressive, and they needed to show a little more moxie in their trades. Those 2 linebackers should have been down there trading sooner. Perhaps even bring a Nova or the 3rd linebacker to assist with the trades, and they should have been trading more coherently and more concisive. Not concisive. What's the word I'm looking for? More with more. What's the word?
I don't know. Purpose. I don't know.
There you go. Thank you. Purpose. That's the exact word I was looking for. It's like you can read my mind. But yeah, they should have been trading with more purpose. So, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's part of like trying to play it super tight like that. They were probably being maybe a little bit too careful, but I can't really blame them. I know I'd be sweating bullets if I was in that situation down there, basically on my own, and knowing that if I die or mess up one of these trades, I'm probably throwing it for the team. Because if 228 did lose a mech, God forbid, they would definitely be on the back foot. And Black Omen had by far the higher DPS deck, and if Blackwatch has to push into them, I think it'd be just over before it even began, just based on the mech choices. But now we see switch sides. You can basically do the same strat on either side, though. So, like you said, this map is pretty balanced.
Yeah, that's the beauty of HPG Manifold. It's very symmetrical, and so you can run a multiple strats from both sides. There's not really an advantage or disadvantage from one side or the other, and that's kind of the benefit of it. That's what makes it so strong. But at the same time, it kind of can make things a little more predictable. It's hard to kind of draw a trump card out, but like, I think this just comes down to the fact that, once again, nobody's really known on how to attack this map. Everybody kind of takes defensive positions on this map to try and ensure the win. And there's nothing wrong with defensive positions inherently. Playing it safe and playing it cautiously is how many wars in history were won. Like even the United States military, they preach, moving with the utmost caution. We've seen it throughout history where battles are normally won on the defense. But, once again, we go back to the fact that 228 really has to win it here, and they're not going to win it by tying games.
Yeah. I want to go back now, but I don't quite have time mid-cast. Someone in chat could do the math and figure out, if we have another tie here, what does that do to the outlook of either of these teams? I'd love to find out. I would guess that a tie would probably go in favor of Black. A second tie would go in favor of Black Omen, but I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Well, once again, Black Omen has the lead. The tie does nothing to further your point advantage. What was it you said to me, Toaster? Wins 5 points, lost 2 points.
Yeah, wins like 5, losses 2, ties 3, but both teams get 3. So
exactly,
it doesn't further your points, but it to some extent stops your opponent from getting more points. So I don't know. It's too hard math to do. But yeah, we're waiting on these teams. Come on, guys.
But at the same time,
you made us wait 15 minutes already. Why are you making us wait again? Okay.
Oh, really? We were waiting 15 minutes? Oh my goodness.
15, that was a 15-minute game, dude.
I thought you were talking about 15 minutes before. Then I thought we were waiting on like a 30-minute game, Like, I was right. Oh my goodness, my internal clock is ruined.
All right, so I'm gonna copy and paste you a link here in Discord. I've queued up some music just in case for this next drop.
I hope it's. Let's see what kind of music you got for me.
It's wonderful. You can't hear the music on my end, so I just wanted to make sure you could listen along with me in chat if worst comes to worst and we see the same thing happen again.
Come on. we need something better. All right, let me link you some real music after we get these builds started. If this match comes to a standstill.
No,
You know,
it's got to be
I'm
royalty
gonna
free,
get
Saruman. It's got to be royalty free. We can't.
I have royalty free music for you, sir. Don't worry about.
All right, so looking at mechs, Archon, Adam Steiner, and a Night Gear C. I believe that's, yeah, 4 ER large and 1 gas rifle. Oh, we've got a hold for a crash. I'm going to keep going over these mechs. One last bite in the Loyalty Rifleman, some sort of lasers it seems. That thing has jump jets, Gyakuda, Nova A, Jiffy, Huntsman P, Totok, Hunchback 2CA. Looks like they're all ready to go back up on the wall, though. Dom in the Flea 17 this time, so giving Panic Button a rest or some freedom to do other things. Panic Button and Oblivion, Sky Knight, and Panther 9Rs. I would guess those are ER large mechs. I'm not going to hop in their cockpits to find out. Lizzie playing with fire, shooting right in front of Kraz with his LPL Dragon. Kraz in an Urban Mech, Jay-Z, Commando 1D, Blaketown, and a Vulcan this time. And Bearclaw in a Quick Draw 5K. What is world? That must be
The
ER
quick draw
larges on that.
5K, the quick draw 5K is not ER larges. It's medium pulses. It's similar to the grasshoppers, and this comes down to Black Omen's strategy of this comes down to Black Omen's strategy of just having brawl builds. But I really like what they are doing because of the fact that they're wasting mechs that they're never going to use in any other match.
Yeah, it looks like Blaketown unable to get back in the match, so we're gonna have a redrop here. But just guessing based on the mechs on either side, looks like we're gonna have another stalemate here unless something insanely different happens last map. Maybe one team will get a pick. Please, one team get a pick. I don't want to sit through 15 minutes of nothing again. Dom has run into the circle in his Flea, and most of the teams are either running out of bounds or killing each other. Totok, last man in bounds for Team 8. We're practicing his jumps to get up on the wall, I guess. Lizzie may never be able to actually over himself in this dragon. It is very heat efficient, I know, because I've played it.
I think Lizzie is dropping a strike on himself to try and hasten the demise, and not even the strike worked. Look at Lizzie failing
just
to
run out of bounds
right now.
Sir.
Yeah, I think he just needs to run.
Okay.
One of ours is too heat efficient. That is definitely Lizzie. The Fang is definitely a mech that's It's definitely a mech that's hard to ice. I'm wondering though, Black Omen. I'm wondering if they're gonna have an idea about what they plan to do with this Flea. That's going to be the interesting draw here. If they find out what's going on with T2A's Flea, not saying they will. There's been a lot of complaints in chat that we should have set a 15-minute delay. I don't agree at all with that. That's not intelligent from my perspective because it means that you guys are basically seeing a completely different game than we are. But still, so far there hasn't been any sense that Omen's been using the screen to cheat. And I'm just going to be interested because they'll see the Flea now. So now is a legitimate reason for them to go, why is there a Flea in this kind of deck? And makes you wonder if they're going to be a little bit more,
well, I mean,
more observant.
That is a good question, but at the same time, they could just come to the conclusion that the Flea, he's not peeking the doors per se, but he's there just to get in the circle quick, prevent the timer from running down. They can shoot,
but then you also have to wonder, like, they've been searching that circle forever. Well, actually, no, you're right. They haven't been searching that circle forever. I'm thinking of the wrong team.
We're ready to go. Both teams are readied up.
All right, let's try again.
Let's try again. Please don't crash again. Another 15 minutes. Maybe we just talk to them and say, you guys just want to call it a draw right now. If we have to redrop again.
I would be down for it because the longer these matches go on, the less sleep I get, and the more chances I have of getting in the oh so wonderful car crash. Yeah. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. But even still, this is definitely a rough. This is definitely a rough series of matches to cast on HBG. I knew that it'd be a challenge. I did not think it would be this much of a challenge.
All right, both teams logging in again, putting up the team display, hitting all the buttons. Looks like we're good to go. Take two, all in from Panic Button.
So McGoat sent me an interesting note. He said T2 is in third. They need 4 wins, if I remember correctly, Saruman. So interestingly enough, that might mean the 228 might not even have a chance to contest right now, but we'll see what happens. I mean, the math hasn't been definite yet, but interesting note. Thank you, McGoat. I'm a poet and didn't know it. Stop. Once again, teams are heading to their positions right now, looking like Black Omen just Zerg rushing the circle in their medium pulse, large pulse laser setup builds. This time, however, exchanging a couple of mechs. So instead of piranhas, it looks like we're seeing Vulcans. We're seeing Crabs 27B substituting some of the grasshoppers with a combination of fangs. Jay-Z and his ever so elusive commando, but it's the same song, same dance. Medium and large pulse lasers abounds in the circle, and it looks like are we seeing it again? Dom925 on top. Is he going to drop? Oh, wow, there's a UAV up there. That is not good. Black Omen could very well see that.
Shot down. Yep, it's down already.
But still, they have an idea that the flea is on the move. It makes you wonder if they're going to occupy that same spot again. It looks like they're not. And to be honest, they really don't have to, since Black Omen is just not going to move from downstairs.
Yeah, I mean, this flea, I mean, he could go back to the same spot. There's not really much of a reason that he needs to, though. I mean, the opponents aren't playing wall strat, so there's no need to really hide like somewhere that's slightly out of vision from the wall. I'd imagine part of the reason that spot was so successful, the reason they wanted to put him there, is if you're sitting right here, this little beam that cuts across in front of you kind of protects you from mechs on the wall. But if you know your opponents aren't sitting people on the wall, you can just kind of sit the flea wherever inside the circle. And
God saying they have the moral high ground because they got to the circle first. What a cheeky person. But yeah, you're right. Ash actually brought it up as a good point, that hiding spot was actually meant to counter a wall v wall strat, and that 228's idea was that they thought Black Omen was going to basically take the wall, and that they were going to have to fight it.
Yeah, that spot, you know, I guess it's kind of nice because you'll never be found kind of no matter what, but it doesn't really do anything better to hide you from mechs underneath.
All right, I think I might just take a nap right now, Toaster, if you don't mind holding on to this cast for 15 minutes.
I've started up the music, just taking a tour of the map, so...
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry, viewers. I know that I have been trying to talk you guys through this match, but I am going to go get a drink. You can hear Toaster's lovely pipes for a quick minute. I will be...
All right. Yeah, I don't know, Chad. I don't know what to say here. We're just gonna take a tour, look at these lovely mechs. Blackwatch, you know, some nice blue and black patterns on that night gear. Let's see, look at this fashion show. Oh, that is the tournament supporter pack from 2017 on Jiffy's Huntsman. Somebody loves this game a lot. Some nice 228 Blackwatch decals from Winners. And meanwhile, we're heading over here to the fashion show. What does One Last Bite have on this loyalty rifleman? Oh, One Last, you're boring. You've just got regular black camo on that rifleman. Boo! Meanwhile, Dom showing off his fast racing stripes and his Flea 17, putting red does make your mech go faster. Try it out in testing grounds. You'll not be disappointed.
Did I hear something about you painting your mech red and it going faster?
I'm just doing a fashion show right now. We're looking at some nice mechs here. Blaketown underneath with his...
Oh my god. Okay, let's do it. Where's Blaketown?
Blaketown underneath. What do you say about this Vulcan? He's got some very bright decals. I wonder if it's my settings somewhat to blame.
No, it's not your settings. I can't tell if Blaketown just admires a full moon or if he's into football. He's got a bunch of bright white circles going on his mech. It looks very flashy. He's got the it looks like he's got the potential Black Omen color scheme going on. I'm kind of sad. I was hoping to see some Dropship 5 from our former D5 compatriots, but that is not.
There's a nice Black Omen decal on his back, though, so I won't blame him. Lizzie, pretty standard green and orange dragon fang here. Gojil sitting in his crab. Gojil actually brought like camo colors. He's got the Merrick purple birdies on his back. I'm not sure what that's about.
I don't know why they're Merrick purple birdies, especially since Gojil's always played with Clan Smoke Jaguar. You'd think that you'd expect some Jaguars on that mech or something. I do like the color of the little satellite dish on top of the crab. You know, it kind of looks like something out of Portal or Portal 2. You see.
Yeah, these crabs look pretty nice. They're not bad. Got some nice red and black colors over here, but that nice little white accent on the little radar dish is definitely nice. Does it look like I haven't even been paying attention, but are there any trades actually going on? No,
there are no trades.
There are no trades.
Right
no
now.
one's even
Absolutely
trying.
So now, quick question, JZ Commando 1D. Look at this interesting little color scheme. He definitely looks like he's got orc colors going on. Not just paint his mech red, but painted sandy colored, potentially to blend in with the environment around him if he decides to fight on one of the many orcish desert planets in Warhammer 40k. Lermgod joining him in that color scheme. But have we seen Krasnopesky? Oh, come on, Kraz, you're an admin. You're supposed to rep something a little better than just an all-black urban mech. You have a unique... Exactly. He has a unique position to bring something new to the table, and he doesn't. Sad face. Moving on. Now that, interestingly enough, colored similarly to Blaketown. What do you think's up with that?
I don't know. Our past teammates have better fashion sense than the rest of the Black Omen guys had, though. Although maybe Jay-Z giving them a run for their money.
I don't know. I like Lizzie's dragon right now. He's looking fabulous in his nice, wonderful color scheme. It's got bright blue and orange colors, basically saying, I don't care if anyone shoots at me. I am going to look wonderful while you're doing it.
I mean, that is kind of the point of that dragon mech, right? I own one because it has some crazy armor and structure quirks. It has like probably double its base stats just in quirks. But yeah, that's kind of all the mechs we made it around.
Okay, so now Black Omen choice. Who's your choice? I'm gonna go with Lizzie.
Black Omen choice. I think I have to give it to Blaketown. I don't know. The hilarious giant orb on his face, along with he actually has the Black Omen team logo decal. I think that Vulcan just looks pretty solid.
I mean, I like Blake, he's a second, but I just love how exotic Lizzie's went with his paint scheme. It's a completely dark map, but he's going for the brightest colors imaginable on his fang. It's still got the teeth in there, they're a different color, and he might have no decals, but you know what? He's still just the most exotic looking dragon around, like a Komodo dragon standing out in the Sahara Desert or someplace where you normally don't see it. So I think that we're tied between Blaketown and Lizzie. Now let's check out 228's paint scheme.
All right,
one last bite with the boring dark colored paints.
Where are we starting? There's one last. Okay, yeah. We've seen him before. Rifleman. It's the loyalty rifleman. Interesting to see, but yeah, he's boring. All black. Blah.
I do like Todok the Potato Hunter. It looks like he's going for a space theme with his mech a little bit. He's got some polka dots, but the polka dots with the way his legs colored at the bottom, it kind of looks like stars dotting the bottom of his legs. So it almost looks like his mech is like Captain Marvel or something from the old Marvel comic books. Like, he's just like Captain Universe, like his hunchback is walking on galaxies a little bit. I really like that paint scheme. That's a winner for me.
He has the 228 IBR decals from their third place in Worlds the other year. So shout out to him for repping the decals, man.
Yeah, Oblivion SK, boring black, pass. Dom 925. I like his locust coloration a little bit.
Yeah, he's got black the red stripes for speed, man. Gotta go fast.
You know what? That's something me and Charlemagne probably missed when we were light piloting. We probably could have used more red. Yeah. Probably would have won more matches,
D5 but should have changed the color scheme, man.
Exactly. We should have been red and black instead of that weird, ugly teal and black. I don't know why we had that color anyway. Archon Adam Steiner, I actually like this, the dark blue color scheme going on with his knight gear.
Right, I'm gonna cut you off a little bit here. We do have some trading going on, and Oblivion SK and his Panther has come down off the wall. I'm not sure what the point is at this point, because
I thought you saw him. He's been down on the wall for a while.
Yeah. Him and the Hunchback moved down, but I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish. If you're trading with only 5 minutes left with that alpha, you're never actually gonna kill anyone unless they really screw up. But anyways, we can go back to the fashion show. Where is Archon gone? No, Archon's rotated all the way around here.
Yeah. Archon Adam Steiner is right next to Panic Button. Panic Button in the Panther. Panic Button, despite being the leader of 228, has no 228 IBR emblems on his Panther. That is very sad, super sad face, man. I'm surprised Deadfire is not frowning or brooding intensely at this. The leader of 228 is not repping any colors, just this dull Black Panther. I mean, I liked it on the Flea because Panic Button was essentially running a strategy, but this right here, this is just ugly, this is not that colorful.
Yeah. Archon does have some, the racing checkers on his night gear, which is a little bit ironic considering the speed of that mech, but oh well. On to Jiffy, as we saw before while you were away. Jiffy has the loyalty pattern, that kind of hexagon, but it's all kind of just white and gray, so don't really get much out of it with those colors. It really pops if you have, the proper colors.
It's kind of boring though. I'm not liking it. It's just white with gray, more white with gray. It's just like, it's not exactly something that you'd go for. Like I'm not that accustomed to it. And then One Last Bite, he's like super gray. Like this is just, this is.
So of the wait, we haven't gotten to Gyakuta. Gyakuta, it's a pretty nice looking Nova, I will say. He's got the pinups on the cockpit, kind of nice. But the black, yellow, and white paint scheme, the yellow I like. It really makes things pop, and he's got to reposition those 228 decals on his shoulder. You can't read a word they say.
Well, interestingly enough, Gyakuta is probably going for show because Gyakuta used to be a pretty intensive streamer a long time ago. He had his own Discord camp, Spawn Camp. He kind of had a show going on with Nisk for quite some time, so he definitely wanted to bring some flash to those shows. Kind of wish it was still going on. I missed him very much. Him and Nisk made a wonderful team. Wonder what happened to him. Sadly, I don't think I'll know, and I wonder if Gyakuta, when he hears this, can kind of enlighten me in the chat on what transpired, because seeing that Spawn Camp show return would actually be quite a treat, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually never caught it. I didn't know it was a thing, but yeah, I'll look out for it. Bring it back, Gyakuta.
Yeah,
we'll come watch. We can stream it over our stream when this sort of thing.
Yeah, we could do some reruns or something. That's for sure. Okay, so winner for 228 Blackwatch. I don't know. This is hard. I really like the Hunchback design from Todok. Like it just screams like Marvel.
But the Todok's Hunchback just looks so put together, He obviously put a lot of time and work in it, positioning those decals like right where they need to be. There's no like real clipping of the images. I think we have to give it to him. Gyakuta a close second. So,
oh wow! Nice. Everybody hates my laugh. I just started reading the chat, and it's like, wow, this is such cringe. Saru, that laugh. What a horrible laugh. Might have to unfollow. I'm really sorry, Krasnopesky. I think I just caused to lose like 10 viewers because of my terrible laugh, so I apologize. And I'm doing it again. I can't help it. That's not
That's okay. We don't pay you for your laugh. We don't pay you at all, as a matter of fact, so they can't get rid of you.
Well, they can. It's just that they have... Yeah, they can. Always can. You can always get rid of someone. So, yeah, I think consensus, Todok the Potato Hunter for 2-2.
Yeah, Todok definitely taking it.
Whoa! Look at that.
I think
Todok
maybe...
the Potato Hunter ate a pretty nasty strike, but he's okay.
Yeah. if you're going to give the win to, like, we've done winners for each of the teams, but, who do you vote overall best paint scheme?
Shoot. Really putting me on the spot here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Darn it, we only have 1 minute and 20 minutes aside. Man, Lizzie, I like his paint scheme. But Todok, I just really like the Captain Universe design of it. I'm gonna go with Todok. Sorry, Lizzie, have to go with Todok.
Yeah, I think I have to go to Todok as well. He just looks so nice, so put together. But we've got some mechs approaching the entrance.
Whoa, what is this? What is this? Gyakuta and One Last Bite look like they're getting really aggressive right now. They're diving into this brawl position. Gyakuta, 78% of the Nova, 68. 228 decided to just throw everything they had at Gyakuta sacrifices himself. This isn't good. Todok the Potato Hunter, 70% right now, trying to dive into this brawl to do some damage. What is going on here? Oh my goodness, mechs dropping, 228 pushing. What is the meaning of this? What is this madness? Are they just trying to put on a show? Lizzie, 99% fresh. One Last Bite's going to go down. 2 free kills by Black Omen. What is this? One Last Bite, 70%. Lermgod kills Jiffy. Lermgod down 49%, but it doesn't look like he's going to drop soon because right now 228's push is very disjointed. It looks like it's not going anywhere. Oblivious K goes down, brings Lermgod, but it's not like it's going to mean much since they're still up 2 mechs. Navid kills One Last Bite. 3 mechs up for Black Omen, and it's 3, 2, 1. Krasnopesky kills Archon Adam Steiner, and the game is over. 228 just pushed in without gaining anything? Was this just a push for sheer boredom? boredom?
Do I not know the rules as well? Because it seems like 228 just threw there. I have to look at the scoreboard to see, who actually.
It's a tie.
Oh, it's a tie. Okay, so apparently they knew and
All
we
right.
didn't that kills
Yeah.
don't matter. So kills don't matter for the league and kills don't matter for this game mode. So GG everybody.
Kills are just not mattering right now. Okay.
I guess they're just putting on a show for Twitch chat. Thank you, I guess.
Wow, that woke me up. They kind of thank God we made fashion decisions when we did. That could have we could have missed some serious action right there.
Yeah. But I don't know, looking at the damage. There was a lot of damage dealt right at the end. Archon managing to pull 321 in his night gear. Overall, about 200 average across the board for Black Omen, but didn't matter. Feels bad, man. All right, thank God those matches are behind us. Moving on.
More cringe laugh. I'm sorry, chat. Oh my God, this was great. I'm sorry. This is why I love casting with you, Toaster. You know exactly what to do. Look at Blaketown. What a game. Rip. So what was the map that they selected again? I completely forgotten
they've selected River City, so thank goodness there are no basements. Well, I guess there is the one basement, but it's Conquest, so no more camping for the next two drops.
We saw Black Omen dive into that basement as a last-ditch attempt against Imperial. It really didn't work out that well for him, so yeah. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to work.
Yeah, no,
basement's a little too small and doesn't cover enough surface area.
Through my connections to Abid and some other players, I heard that was definitely a mistake, not planned. They agreed that they threw that match by dropping those. I think he said 275 tons, an Annihilator, a Direwolf, and a Night Gear into the basement, leaving the other Night Gear off to fend for himself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually surprised, though, that Lermgod, they didn't really throw anyone. They didn't say it was really anyone's fault. So it definitely shows that even though Black Omen is a team that's newly formed and it's a team of guys that have just gotten together, they still operate with a team dynamic, which is very good to see. Last thing you want to do is throw teammates unnecessarily under the bus and sure those mistakes were the mechs going in the basement, and I think it might have been Lermgod or someone else that was up top.
Yeah,
that caused the kill count to kind of spiral out of control. But even still, they all stood together as a unit. It's pretty admirable.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing to be doing something that's bad intentionally, like that you don't know is bad and throwing that way, versus doing something accidentally that is bad and you messed up. At some point, the feedback of you screwed up is not helping you. It's like, yeah, I know I shouldn't have dropped down. I'll be more aware of it next time. But we got some drop deck changes. Why are these? Okay, yeah. So right now, for anyone just tuning in, my scoreboard shows that Blackwatch has 1 drop 1 and Black Omen has 2 drops 1. I'm gonna have to change this. I'm just gonna put 0 zeros back. Right now, the only team that has won a drop is Black Omen, and there have been 2 ties on HPG, with Black Omen opting to just take the basement in their higher DPS brawl mechs and Blackwatch opting to take the wall. So I have no idea how this affects the scoring for the division or who's going to take second. So someone do the math. Get back to me. Someone in Twitch chat. I know you've got a lot of free time. There's not exactly a bunch of action going by those last 2 drops. But now we're on to River City. Saruman, what do you expect to see this drop?
Hopefully less camping and more actual shooting, because technically this is a first-person shooter. But I think that what we're going to see, we haven't really seen much change from the DACA push from Echo 5 to Echo 7, and I don't see any reason why that's going to change now. We're kind of in the late area of the season. Now, we might see a little bit of a variation of cap strategies coming from whichever team holds Starport, but I think in the end, teams in the top tier understand that this Echo 5 position is not necessarily the most ideal to trade from, and that Starport is the area you want to see. So teams have just kind of moved across Echo 6 and just decided to seize it with as much force as they can, mainly DACA force through a DACA push. But
yeah, we did see 228 did use up, I believe, all their Blood Asps in drop 1 though, so they're gonna have to opt for Mad Cat's definitely a good mech, but if they use up all their Mad Caps in another drop, then I wonder what they'll do for the last one. It'll be interesting to see. Mad Cats and Bloodass seem to be the favorites for kind of those pushy Daka mechs this season. I've also seen some teams using like AC2s though, AC2 Annihilators, AC2 Night Gear. There's also some AC2 Direwolves with those ultraviolet pods being allowed thanks to the rules. So it'll be interesting to see. It does seem like you said, the Starport side is the team that's been the receiving end of that push more often than not. But yeah, hopefully, please, no camping. Teams, if you're listening, please, no camping.
Well, no promises. Since interestingly enough, with this camp, they might. I mean, 228 might not be completely out of the race yet. Like I said, McGoat made an interesting comment. He said 228 would have to win 4-1 in order to take this. I think that we're a little past that. I think that at this point, the destiny of 228 is in the hands of their B team. I'm not exactly sure. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of chance for them to walk away with the win here. I'm just not I'm not confident as as confident as I was, at least in the beginning. But even still, like, it just
let me go.
It doesn't look promising right now, especially since there aren't a lot of kills. The ties don't really count for too much, and in the end, it's very easy for Black Omen to come on top because their last opponent's essentially a Div B team.
Yeah. I mean, it's 228's Div B team though, so maybe Blackwatch will do a little bit of extra scrimming with those group of fellows this week to kind of toughen them up for Blackwatch. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard sell, convincing me at least that Black Omen won't just 5-0 that team. So to start off the night, this is the last match of the season for 228 Blackwatch, right? They had 95 points. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Black Omen has 73 points, but they still have this match and their Div B Bananas team match. So if you assume Black Omen will 5-0 the Div B Bananas team, that puts Black Omen up to 98 points without considering any of the drops from tonight. So 228 right now, they've scored, let's see, 2 plus 3 plus 3 points. So they've scored 8 points. So that puts them at 103. Black Omen has scored 11 points. So that would put them at 109. So I believe if 228 wins out both of these matches, both of these next 2 games, they still technically tie Black Omen if Black Omen 5-0s the Div B.
All right, the teams are ready, so let's get this going.
I need a gif of the beautiful mind thing going because I have no idea if all that math in my head was right.
You mean what are you talking about? The GIF of Zach Galifianakis in the casino?
Yeah, that
was
one.
It Hangover 3?
Yeah,
with
Hangover
the numbers
3,
floating in front of him as he's trying to rig the blackjack table. Oh
exactly.
My goodness! And you know what's funny? That scene that is based on is so iconic. Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman at his best, man. You know, that was truly a good movie. And then you have Tom Cruise in the background doing Tom Cruise things, just being mentally unhinged. So is that.
So we'll see. It might not be over for Blackwatch. They might tie on points if they can win both of these. I'm not sure though. Don't take me at my word, chat.
Well, one thing's for sure, if Blackwatch loses it, they're definitely knocked out, since Black Omen will have the series locked up, and that's really all they need at this point, and not something 228 lost. They don't want to go out like that, ending their night with 2 drops going 15 minutes, forcing their casters to start a Paint Warrior competition? Come on, man. End it with some firepower. End it with some moxie. End it with some reason to show viewers why they should watch MechWarrior Online. People don't watch this game for paint. What are you doing? Let's go.
Next season, we're going to have a tiebreaker based on a panel of judges grading your mech's paint schemes. So
All
you don't
right.
want that. But
We don't. Well, I don't know. We might, so long as we can cast it and maybe receive some money in compensation to do it. But that's a discussion for another time. Bringing out the mechs. Look at this. Jay-Z, Dog Meat, Krasnopetsky, the Assassin Hit Squad is coming for you. And right now, Dario 3 following up in the Piranha 1, Gojul, Summoner D, 2 PPCs, unless I'm reading that differently. I am. It's 2 UX10s. I need to pay closer attention to these mechs. Apologies, chat. 2 Madcap Mark 2Bs from Lerm God and Kondo. Those are DACA. You know it. I know it. And we all love it. And Lizzie in the Blood Ass B, Clan ECM, 5 EC5s. And, they're just talking in chat. I thought for a second someone disconnected. Scared the
Kappa has fallen. They have taken a cap point, which means that we probably won't have any crazy sort of camping strategies. Totok up here in a Direwolf on Spaceport.
And that Direwolf is actually filled with DACA. Interestingly enough, though, Gillicuda and Archon Adam Steiner are opting for Warhawk Primes, taking extreme range spots in case a DACA push does come. I guess this is 228's way of trying to answer the DACA push. However, this Assassin Hit Squad is creeped up right to the edge of the spaceport. It looks like that they might be trying to make a push somewhere, trying to find a mech caught out. Oblivion SK,
this is the same
interestingly enough, is in an ATM Huntsman.
Yeah, this is the same thing we saw Black Omen do against CMP a week or two back. They've got these assassins kind of holding the edge of Starport here, making it hard for 228 to trade while their DACA mechs move across. And
however,
they're not moving across. Okay.
But the interesting thing is that the Huntsmans they have 2 ATM Huntsmen, so they have a lot more alpha damage up front, and I don't think that there's any mech on the side of Black Omen that has ECM, and not ECM, has AMS, and no, they don't. And even then, it's ATMs. ATMs actually have more missile health, much more missile health nowadays than LRMs, so it's not necessarily like ATMs would mean GG for these Huntsmans, but even then, there's only one mech with ECM, and that's Lizzie, who's all the way in the back, not really able to offer much ECM support. He's trying to lay down some fire on those Huntsmans, not really doing much, just some scrape damage, but scrape damage is still very painful for those kinds of mechs. Huntsmans aren't exactly the most armored mech you'd see.
These DACA mechs are moving down a little bit out of Upper City now. They've come into Park, they're into the river, but they're not taking the usual way up into Starport. Looks like Black Omen's kind of doing a little bit of rotation to the right here. Jay-Z and the Assassin I wanted to mention. Looks like he took a big hit from those ATMs, but
oh yeah, he was in the beginning. I forgot to mention that, and I apologize. Krasnopetsky was getting nailed by them too. Gojul takes a big hit from some strikes. The Summoner D, is that the DACA Summoner? Yes it is. Wow, he's getting really aggressive up the top, putting some shots down on Todok the Potato Hunter and receiving some in kind. ACM's hurt like crazy, 73%, but Gojul now using the dock to his advantage, finding some cover, blocking some much unneeded damage, apologies, from those ATMs. Dogmeat Gojul starting to round about. It looks like that Black Omen is attempting to make some sort of wide right flank to try and take the starport from another direction, but this is a very slow, concerted push. And right now we have Dom in the background, along with, I believe, that's Panic Button. Yes, the 2 Javelin 11As pulling range with their medium lasers, capping everything that Black Omen once had. The Assassin Hit Squad's trying to chase off Dom, and they might get him. Dom's down 77%. What's the condition of his legs? They're fresh, so Dom might be able to get out in time. The Assassin Hit Squad was not able to assassinate their next target. Contract failed, and Dom looks like he's going to get out safely.
I don't know, this Assassin and Piranha, they want blood.
That's not good. Yeah, he took a wrong turn. He should have bolted immediately to the bridge or something, hoping that
Panic Button is back here now, and Dario and Jay-Z are a bit split. Dario needs to be careful. He could get caught out just by these 2v1 by these
Dario is taking an unnecessary amount of damage right now. Jay-Z coming in to back him up. The rest of the Assassin Hit Squad seems to be directed somewhere else. Gojul down 63%. He is taking some big hits. He is getting way too aggressive in his trades. He might need to slow his roll a little bit. He still has all his AC-10s, but right now the rest of his team isn't really as aggressive as him. He is on an island, and look at his position. He is in the basement, hasn't learned a single lesson from Outreach HPG, bombing people from the bottom with airstrikes, or maybe he's learning his lesson that airstrikes on the underground are very effective, but Gojul is in a precarious position. He's completely isolated, and it looks like that one last might be trying to finish him in his Huntsman A. So, for all intents and purposes, Gojul may be dead, or he might get out alive. But it looks like there's a bit of a 1v1 going on. One last fight
mid-range. The Huntsman's got to be careful. He probably needs someone. I don't know. You can't really afford to send a mech to the other end to try and trade against them.
Admiral Korean, well, they did now. Admiral Korean Jesus going down. It seems like he's going to be the one to finish him, but the rest of the mechs up top are very wary as Black Omen is within striking distance of all these mechs.
Looks like the call's been made. These Mad Cats and the Blood Ass heading up the ramp, but they're kind of single file. Lermgod taking a big hit. Kondo now.
Lermgod is getting savaged by ATMs right now, down 60%. The Assassins are really late to the party. Their influence is nil during this entire combat, and right now Lermgod drops like a sack of potatoes. Potatoed against the ATMs, that's for sure. Kondo right now, Madcat Mark 2B once again eating it from the ATMs and the withering PPC fire. Finally, the Assassins are in on something, but the Direwolves and the Warhawks are seeming to shift their focus a little bit, but it might be too little too late for these Warhawks. Gilakuda, however, managed to escape catastrophe by shading out. However, it seems like Todok's the focus target. Krasnopesky down 61%, trying to finish Todok. Archon Adam Steiner's getting distracted by Dogmeat. Gilakuda's trying to wear him off. Krasnopesky sinks Todok. That is a key kill, but it might still not necessarily be enough for Black Omen. They have a lot injured. Panic Button brings down Gojil. One last bite brings down Dogmeat, and it looks like that we're seeing this game evolve in favor of 228. Potentially a much-needed win. Yeah, it's looking like a win.
Yeah. Well played by 228. They definitely had the answers for this Black Omen strat. Maybe they watched the VODs and kind of caught them out. These ATM Huntsmen's just doing so much work, kind of thwarting that push and making it really awkward for Black Omen to get in there. Black Omen does currently have a 4 cap though, so maybe it's a little too late. I don't know. 228 still has a fair bit of time to split up their mechs and start getting caps.
This is a 5 cap, yeah, but 228 still has the Javelins. The Javelins are the key here, and the Javelins are fresh. If they can immediately start spreading out right now, I don't like the Panic Button is the one capping Theta. He needs to go the distance and find very distant points, but it looks like right now 228 isn't going to put that much stock into it. They're going to get a 3 cap soon with Kappa, Gamma, and Theta all captured. They have mechs heading in Epsilon right now, and then all that's left is Sigma, but that still leaves 228 even with a 4 cap with 150 seconds, I want to see. No, 100 seconds. My bad. Math is hard. Most likely for them to finish this game out, actually less time. They might only be left with, 70 seconds, which is a minute. A lot can happen in a minute, especially with a Piranha that's out for blood. Panic Button finally sees Dario laying down the medium laser fire. This is a very intense light fight, and this could decide the game if Panic Button isn't careful. However, Dario is not in the best position. Both his legs are open, and
he's getting ATM
from
a distance, and yeah, he might kill Panic Button here, but with only 1 cap left for Black Omen, it does look like this is going to go in 228's favor either way, even if Panic Button does die. Panic Button somehow is still alive and not legged at all.
That's because Dario is splitting his focus between the Huntsman and between the Javelin, and Panic Button's like, okay, you can fight the Javelin, I'm just going to cap this point and make sure we win, and the win goes to 228. That was actually a little tense at the end. 228 could have lost on caps, but they managed to gain control of the game very quickly. Kudos to 228. What would you say this? 1 win each and 2 draws? Who's favored?
I think it just comes down to who wins this next drop, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say this is like a 2-2 decision.
I'm not. I don't know.
Hold the phone. One last bite. Over 1,000 damage. Far and away the MVP for this match. He did more damage than, I want to say, the entirety of the rest of Bravo and Charlie Lance put together. He might have even done as much damage as the entirety of Alpha Lance put together. That's pretty insane. His Huntsman did work this game. Meanwhile, not much of an answer from Black Omen's side. Jay-Z, Dogmeat, Krasnopesky, the assassin hit squad falling a little short. Jay-Z leading the way, however, with a decent 293 damage. Lizzie, 519, and his blood ass trying to make magic happen, but just not being able to do much. Gojil, 287, got way too aggressive and took too much damage, I felt. Madcat Mark 2B, Lermgod, only 171. He was definitely the focus target of the ATMs on the push, and he evaporated into mist, pretty much. His mech was turned into mush at the resounding pounding he suffered from the Daka fire that was just constantly barraging his mech. Really nothing he could do about it. Very impressive win for 228, and they're back in this.
Yeah. I mean, even Gilakuda and his Warhawk, who didn't seem like he got that much trading on, and I think he was the first Warhawk. Or wait, am I looking at the wrong score? Oh no. He wasn't the Warhawk to go down. It was the Direwolf that went down. But anyways, it didn't seem like those Warhawks were doing much, but I guess they just, in that fight managed to put out enough damage combined with that insane work done by that huntsman. It's kind of all she wrote. But now we flip sides. Black Omen will have Spaceport this time, and 228 will be the team that, I don't know, it seems like the team that has Upper City is always the team that pushes, so maybe we'll see a push out of them, or maybe we'll see more camping, who knows.
Interestingly enough, all of T28 abandoned the lobby. It makes you wonder what they're thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they've got some fancy smancy prop deck in mind that they want to set up, but either way, we'll find out. So let's see. Let me update my scoreboard now. They killed one. Very dominating performance by that huntsman, though. This shows how strong those ATMs can be if you can manage to hold people, just in that right range. Those 3 missiles. It's 81 damage for 3 ATM 9s if you manage to get all the missiles to hit in that 3 damage range. So,
well, with ATM, the spread isn't even that bad either on the ATMs. They're pretty focused on the mech. I know that, frustratingly enough, playing a light against the ATM meta, they definitely had a lot of fun focusing my legs, Toast.
Getting flashbacks there, Saruman.
Yeah, more like PTSD, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've seen how effective they are right now, doing serious amounts of work. I would definitely say that MVP, which is going all the way to one last bite. But of course, Gillicuda brought this up a point ago. Like in the end, it also comes down to the spot mechs. It comes down to the javelins. It's a team effort to make ATMs work, and T28 definitely did that by spreading their lines. And they might have found the answer to how teams receive pushes from that starport position in the future. It'll be interesting to see what other teams from Div A to Div D take notes on this game to try and figure out how to properly fight and counter these kinds of maneuvers. It didn't seem like the Dodaka that Black Omen brought was so much of a more straightforward push. They definitely kind of meandered a little bit more. They went for a more far wide right flank. Whether or not that saved him or not is debatable. It definitely seemed like 228 was preparing for a more direct push, so I would argue yes. But at the end of the day, Black Omen's push was just a little too slow on the draw, and it was a little uncoordinated because you had some mechs poking out and taking too much damage while you had other mechs just sitting in and being passive. The assassins definitely did not go in at the right time with the rest of the heavy lance, since there was no distraction at all. They pretty much focused down Lerm God and annihilated him instantly, and that definitely pretty much set things in their favor, set the bar in 228's favor. I mean,
yeah, I'm heading over to the map strat right now. It was very well received by 228. They had that direwolf way in the back. He was the first one that had to be focused down, but he was like had all the other mechs in between himself and the rest of Black Omen. They had their Warhawks kind of set back, and interesting enough, the Huntsmans and that Hunchback, did a good job spacing themselves like in those buildings, so it's hard to focus. And they were doing some great pop tarts just kind of up over the ledge, making the assassins regret their lives. Assassins for Black Omen. They tried to work that ledge at the start, and the Bloodass and the Mad Cat for Black Omen kind of went up into the regular E5 area like we expected, and I thought they were gonna push, but then they kind of doubled back and took a more I'd say a laborious route, kind of through the river, just kind of up to the ledge where they can't really get up, and then they went all the way down around to F7, and they kind of congregated down there for a little bit. I don't quite know. It seemed like they were hoping to get a cap lead, right? Off the bat, they had taken Epsilon, Theta, and Sigma for their team, and they had a cap lead at the start, while 228 took Gamma and Kappa. But eventually, the javelins for 228, they wrapped around. They secured Sigma. Whoops, wrong color. They secured Sigma. They wiped it off of out of Black Omen's control. They had Kappa pretty much the entire time. And eventually they even got I think they were planning on going to Epsi. I never saw if they actually capped it or not, but they kind of wrapped all the way around the map, somewhat getting chased by Jay-Z and Dario up into Echo 5, but they eventually turned on Dario and Jay-Z and kind of forced Jay-Z out. And I think that's what kind of forced Black Omen's hand to push up into Starport, when I don't think Black Omen really wanted to do that.
Well, I Black Omen did. This is definitely a question that we're going to have to ask whoever Black Omen says to interview. I really hope they do send someone because I'm interested in seeing what their reasoning was. I think they had to because we saw at the beginning that with the body untouched, that the Huntsmen were essentially able to get free ATM locks on
Yeah.
the assassin hit squad. So essentially it was going to be a battle of getting whittled down. The javelins were kind of bringing the assassin hit squad back into range of the ATMs. So essentially if they didn't push into the main body and try and stop the defensive fortification that essentially protected the huntsmen to allow them to operate freely in protecting the javelins as they were capping points, meant that the cap game was definitely going to not necessarily favor Black Omen. If they back off from that starport area, then they're susceptible to the ATM fire and the long range firepower of the Warhawks. If they try and push, so I feel like pushing up was actually a good call. I just felt that the push was not properly executed. The
It was a bit
assassins went in
disjointed.
too late.
Yeah, yeah.
Assassins primarily went in too late. And we also saw that the lights were very uncommitted. The pushes with the other mechs were kind of all single file. We saw the Mad Cat Mark II's Congo line. Once Lerm God dropped, it was pretty much on to the next mech. But it felt like even then that push could have been more successful if the assassins were just more involved when Lerm God and the other Mad Cat Mark II's pushed up. But now we are on to drop 5. This is essentially a 2-2 decision. This is fun. The fate of second place rests in this match.
Yep, yep. Black Omen needs to put up or shut up here, I guess. Maybe 2-8. This was their plan all along. Just get the 2 wins at the end, combined with the two ties. Maybe they figured they did the math like I hopefully did correctly and realized they could tie 2 and then just win 2 and good to go. But we'll see. I'm sure all the admins will be double checking my math and maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, the admins have been pretty hands-on with the casters, which is fine. Can't expect anything less from them. And wow, MWO Leagues 2 is rating our chat with 57 views. That is actually kind of funny. Their game ended before ours, despite starting later.
Yeah. You can blame the campers. Blame the campers. I love blaming campers, man.
Camp is a legitimate strategy. First off, I'd like to say thank you very much to MWO Leagues 2 with the rating party. I know that this was Tio's first cast. Yep. He was a man who's been working with some high-tier teams as well. Great player from WKL. Tios, I hope you had much success. Curlon Seabiscuit, I'm pretty sure you guys did an amazing job as well. Thank you very much for those extra viewers. Now, on to the match. Looks like that we're seeing, once again, more DACA from Black Omen. They are going to not abandon their tried and true strategy. UAC 2s and AC 2s from the Night Gear B, piloted by Kondo. Lerm God bringing a Blood Ass B with Ultra AC 5s. We're seeing Krasnopesky bring a Blood Ass B, once again with AC 5s. Navid, JZ bringing Vulcans. Dario bringing the Flea 20. Krasnopesky, as I said, Blood Ass B. And Blake Town in the Flea 17. So we're seeing a lot more of a top-heavy deck from Black Omen this time. They have a lot more lights and a lot more assault class mechs, and they're definitely going with a top-heavy approach, kind of with a more mobile, much faster hit squad than the assassin hit squad that we're used to. And what do you see on 228 side?
I see a lot of mechs, but the 2 that catch my eye, they have 2 Supernova A's, man. So those are the missile boats. It looks like from inspection they're both boating quad Lerm 20s, so they've got the missiles again. They brought the Clag Gyakuta and the Night Gear D. Looks like he has dual Gauss and ER larges on that mech, or maybe some laser vomit. What else do you see, Saruman?
Interestingly enough, I'm going to say it right now, it seems like that Black Omen came a little bit more prepared this time. Krasnopesky bringing ECM, Lerm God bringing ECM on his Blood Asp. Meanwhile, Kondo not bringing any ACTs, but everyone's kind of hovering around these ECM mechs. And the lights, the Vulcans, all have AMS or ECMs on the Flea. So definitely Black Omen prepared for this and took precautions. But even so, the rain is here. I repeat, the rain is here. Yeah. Lerm God is already down 75%. Already getting Lerm like crazy. The bridge is saving him, but 69%. Oh my goodness, that's brutal. That's a good pilot taken out of his element. Not something he wants to do. The damage is spread, so it's not like it's a meaningful 69% damage, or as I would say, a meaningful 31% damage taken, but that still hurts. That's armor gone because of the power of LRMs.
Yeah, they moved down in the water, so it looks like they're going to be the ones to push across from Starport. I guess they decide they want to get into these buildings on top of these Lerm mechs now that they know they're there. Panic Button got a nice UAV. It was responsible for those locks, so good on him. But now we've got some trades kind of going off as Black Omen tries to move us up this ridge into these buildings. Lermgod and Lizzie getting a little left behind.
We're seeing the Light Lance creep up on the Supernova Ace. Oblivion SK is completely isolated from his team, but he seemed to have dodged a bullet. Blaketown, JZ, Dario, they don't even notice him as he shades out. That could have been a disastrous pick for 228. If Oblivion SK was brought down there, it could have probably meant the game, potentially. Blurmgod, once again, getting lermed by Oblivion SK, down 61%, but he's starting to take some serious damage. He's exposed here right now. Teams are starting to focus on him more. And look at Archon Admiral Korean Jesus. I mean, sorry, I saw the A and mistaked it. Look at Admiral Korean Jesus' position. If the fleas ever catch wind of where these Lerms are coming from, he is dead meat. And right now, it looks like that they aren't. The rest of the light mechs are kind of focusing on this brawl. I can't say I agree with this choice necessarily, but it seems to be panning out for them. As Oblivion SK is down 40%, one last bite may go down here.
Yeah, I think maybe their strategy is stick these AMS mechs kind of in between the Lerms and the proper Lerm targets. You see Dario, Navid, and Blaketown, their AMS just like constantly going off, and they're getting a good flank on Gyakuda and Archon in there. Night Gear's over here. Archon losing an arm. Oblivion SK and his Supernova goes down.
Potato Hunter drops as well. Beautiful double kill for Black Omen. That's exactly what they needed. Damage percentages are not exactly clean on Black Omen's side, but that's a 2-0 mech advantage. Dom coming in the back, harassing Lizzie. This could be a kill right here if Dom knows what he's doing, and he does. Kondo finishes Archon Adam Steiner. It's a 3-0 mech advantage for Black Omen. Things are not looking good. Panic Button taking a lot of damage. Lizzie goes down. Krasnopesky, however, finishes Gilikuda. Right now, Lermgod and Panic Button are working Lermgod. He goes down as well. However, the blood asp on Krasnopesky is still pretty clean. Gario's 100% fresh in his Flea 20. I have a very hard time seeing 228 pulling this one out.
Navid's in the back here on Korean Jesus, aka Mikado Soul, so it looks like the Supernova is going to be pretty much incapacitated soon here. Although Navid's pretty hurt and the Supernova does have ER meads, looks like Dom might come to back him up. I guess he's more focused on the cap.
But at the same time, though, we have Kondo, we have Blaketown, and we have JZ all on Admiral Korean Jesus. He's not going to live that long. Panic Button's trying to come in with the save, but it is just a commando. Tom is a little too late. They need to get involved and eliminate these light mechs and use Admiral Korean Jesus kind of like a tank in old RPG terms to try and soak up some damage. John Tayson, Blaketown down. I cannot support that decision. That's exactly something that Black Omen would want. Dom needs to get involved in that light fight, but it might be too late already as Admiral Korean Jesus is already down and Panic Button already left for dodge.
Yeah, and now it looks like they may try and chase these lights down. It does seem like Black Omen has a pretty handicap advantage just because of numbers. 228 mechs left are all very fast mechs, but they're pretty equally mirrored on the Black Omen guys. Looks like the call's been made to kill. Yep, one last bite and his Arctic Wolf goes down. Panic Button's here in his commando, but I'm sure JZ and Blaketown look to want to make quick work of him. Oh.
And right now, Dom manages to kill Kondo, but Blaketown and JZ are chasing that poor little commando down like the mongoose chasing the rattlesnake. And it looks like Panic Button is going to go down here right now, and everything is on Dom.
In the process of pushing there, Black Omen did a very good job of keeping the caps in their favor. You know, maybe if 228 had managed to flip a few more in their favor while that push was happening, they would have had an advantage, but now it seems like it's just going to come down to kills here.
And I think you have a point, actually. The way the lights are positioned, they definitely did protect the rest of Black Omen's heavier lance from ATM fire, but it looks like Black Omen secures second place. Toaster, you can put your calculator away. You do not have to do math. However, what a great set of matches, even though those two draws weren't exactly pretty. The final match has more than made up for it. 2 wins, 2 draws for Black Omen. 1 win, 2 draws, 2 losses for 228. And Black Omen, I believe, has a very good chance to take second place, unless, of course, Death from Above pulls off a miracle.
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure this goes in Black Omen's favor, but I don't know. I'm gonna guess at this point it does. They won 2, only lost 1, and tied 2. So I give up.
It's okay.
My money would be on Black Omen, but I'm not certain chat, so don't flame me if I get it wrong.
It's okay. I'm already getting messages in chat. I accidentally left. No, that is not good.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say Lizzie gets MVP for that match, putting down 824 damage in his Direwolf. Direwolf, not an easy mech to pilot when you're getting lermed. Navid and Jay-Z pulling 449 and 499 damage in those Vulcans respectively, so very good on them. Blaketown, pretty decent, 227, and just pretty solid scores all across the board for Black Omen. Oh, I messed up my scoreboard. Ha, switch now, chat. On the side of 228, Korean Jesus in his Supernova did top damage, 480 from those lerms. I guess, just being back in that position. He wasn't, maybe Black Omen knew where he was. Maybe they didn't. He wasn't.
It is very possible. Like I said, I think that you made a very good point that the lights might have just been positioning themselves in order for their AMS to work against the LRMs. But even still, it was pretty smart.
Yeah, it was Oblivion smart. SK and his Supernova only managed to pull 183 damage despite how many missiles he was throwing down. So AMS definitely kind of a big issue for Blackwatch. They seems like Black Omen got their number from the previous game and came prepared, as you said. Totok pulled 456 in his Viraga though, so pretty decent showing from him. I'd say just overall, Black Omen, they played it right. They knew how to beat the lerms, and they pushed, and they brought all the AMS to kind of mitigate the damage.
Yeah, and it actually worked because at the end, when those lerms could have been most impactful from Admiral Korean Jesus as the fight was going down, it wasn't just a combination of cover. It was the fact that the ATMs were eating a lot of Admiral Korean Jesus's missiles, and that really cut down the firepower that Admiral Korean Jesus could have brought to the.
Yeah, definitely. Well played both teams though. So I don't know. You said chat confirmed that Black Omen has secured second, assuming they 5-0 their team next week. Which we talk about it like it's a given because none of the Div B teams I think have managed to grab a game yet. But it's always a possibility. And with the team they're playing 228, I believe it's Death from Above. The B team for 228 and A. They're no slouches, so it's still like Black Omen still got to do their homework tomorrow night and come prepared and make sure they win those 5-0. We did see this season some teams, EMP almost dropped a match or two to Mercstar, and there have been some very close drops. So just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean it can't. Looks like we've got some visitors in the casting room. Hello, and hello, Kraz.
This is the interview that people are waiting for. We cannot screw this up, Toaster. One last Krasnopesky, thank you very much for joining us. Hell of a series, guys. Excellently played.
Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers indeed. Krasnopesky delivering a posh chill, sir. And one last bite bringing his regular enthusiasm. Okay, so drop one. Let's just cover that real quick. One last bite. It definitely felt like Archon Adam Steiner got focused a little bit in the beginning. I almost want to say he got one shot. I'm not sure what happened there. What was going on with that battle?
We'll have to watch the stream back, but basically we saw the Annihilators out there, and then the linebackers inland, and there was kind of like split decisions on where to go. We had some people go in, some people go out, and then we had a call to just push the water. Later on, after they started doing that, I called that we should probably just push inland to get away from the Annihilators, because if we went water, I figured the linebackers hit at our backs. And then, I think we just got a lot of really split up. I think Archon was in front, so he probably took the most damage. It's really hard to see who's leading, though, in a push like that.
All right, fair enough. And Krasnopesky, I really like the fact that you brought the 5 ER large laser annihilators. I know that Jay-Z and Lermgod were kind of hyping them up in the Mech Lab channel for those who pay attention to the MWO Comp Discord. I hope that as many people as possible do. But would you say that was the key to your victory, or would you say it was something else?
No, not at all. I think I only did third best damage out of the assaults in it. The rest of the assaults were Dakar. I would have been better off in an AC2 Dakar mech in that particular engagement, but we just took it as insurance in case 228 decided to play a bit more of a longer range sort of strategy.
Yeah, and it turns out that they really didn't. They kind of got in your face, and I guess that's where the DACA had the advantage. But still, very interesting pick. I would love to see that Annihilator more in later games. Now, on to drop 2. One last. This question is for you, since Krasnopetsky, your strategy was pretty straightforward. This is actually something viewers brought up and something that Toaster and I were debating as well. That flea hiding in that specific spot would have no impact if the team hides in the tunnel. So were you guys placing that flea specifically to counter a certain strat, like a wall v wall strat?
Well, we had to have somebody in circle, right?
But you could have left that flea anywhere. That's the point. Like, you didn't. If you knew that the team was going basement, or you had a good idea that your opponent was going basement, that flea could have just sat at the top of the HPG and not be harmed. As a matter of fact, if anything, that flea is a little risky there, because if a commando looks up and sees the window shield, they're going to know that there's a mech there. So that's why I'm asking, why put the flea in that specific spot and just leave him there? What were you trying to counter?
I mean, mostly memes. We ran into it in public queue, and it took 8 minutes to find the guy. So we wanted to try it. But yeah, also just if they went anything other than basement, you don't know what your opponent's going to take on HPG. But if they did something else and we actually did end up getting the engagement that we wanted, we figured a flea in a safe hiding space that somebody would have to go out of their way to find would be pretty safe. So we weren't too worried about him getting murdered. Certainly when Jay was running around there in the commando, we were like sweating trying to get people over to that side. But yeah, no, it wasn't to counter anything in particular. It's more just insurance.
And also, it felt like that you guys definitely could have made your strategy work a little more if you were more aggressive. Now, obviously, Black Omen is a completely different beast from White Knight Legion. This is a team filled with highly experienced pilots, so I guess you guys were just trying to roll the dice and be safe. But did you feel that maybe you should have gotten more aggressive to try and make the game happen in your favor, especially with the linebackers towards the end?
Well, I mean, are you guys able to see what the builds were on the linebackers?
Yes, we did. ER mediums and ER large. I'm not saying push into the tunnel, sir. Obviously not. I'm just saying that maybe have more of the linebackers drop down from the walls in order to engage separate angles on the mechs hiding in Black Omen, similarly to how Mercstar worked White Knight.
Yeah, honestly, I called that, and I don't know why we didn't have it happen. I think we had miscommunication. But at the same time, it wasn't something where I'm just like, you guys need to get down here right now, because if somebody's in the basement, it's really hard to scout exactly which corners they're sitting in. Even if you have seismic, if guys stand still, you're never really sure what their numbers are. And I would say only 2 of the entrances into that are actually safe, because the other 2 entrances are covered. So the one that goes out under the bridge has cover on both sides, and then the one that goes out in like the ditch is really hard to shoot into. So that really limited where our guys could peek from without having to step all the way in the gate. And as soon as you step in the gate, if you have to retreat through a covered area, there's no way your team can help you. You're probably just going to get legged and then, goodbye to that mech. So, yeah, we probably should have been more aggressive, but I don't know if we could have really changed anything. There's some spots in there that are really hard to dig people out of.
And Krasnopetsky, going to you, was there at any point where Black Omen was going to say that they would have to push out and end the game decisively in a brawl?
Yeah, we considered it, but I mean, there wasn't much point to it. The chances of actually ganking that light mech and getting up on timer are so little.
Also, looking to your team again, was there any scenario you guys had planned where you felt that you would have to push out, or did you feel pretty safe that there would be no counter to you guys hiding in the?
We didn't want to go to the basement. I'll just make that clear. The only we ran medium pulse mechs. If we wanted to go basement, we would have ran SRMs and things like that. The only reason we went basement was because we knew that they went up on the wall. So there's nothing else you can do.
But at the same time, you also had grasshoppers. It felt like you had some jump jet mechs. Why not try and roll the dice? And you guys had the DPS advantage. I mean, surely you could have. Well, not surely, but how come you guys didn't try to make anything?
Because if you try and push the team on the wall when you've got medium pulse, most of the time you lose.
All right, fair enough.
If they're already up on the wall, most of the time you just lose.
It's like the opposite of the basement problem that we were up against, right? If they're taking anything better, like they had medium pulse and stuff, nothing that's capable of getting up on the wall is really going to have that much close range firepower.
Okay, fair enough. And now, drop 4, Krasnopesky. This is a question directed.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
Toaster.
have one thing to say. We did a little bit of a fashion show while this was going on, so we'd just like to extend our congratulations. Make sure that you guys let believe it was Gilakuda in the Hunchback.
No. It was
was it?
no, it was
Was it Totok?
It wasn't it was Todok the Potato Hunter because he looked like
yes,
Captain Universe. And Krasnopesky, I just want to let you know that Lizzie was a close.
Yeah. But you guys all need to work
was a
on
hard
your
choice.
paint schemes. You know, there are a few good mechs, and then the rest of you are pretty bland. So
Basic green all the time, every day.
That's pretty much.
I had camo grey.
Okay, and now camo gray. Come on, Kraz, you're the admin. You got to show a little more spice.
It's tactical.
yeah,
No, it's tactical. Hit it in the neck.
Yeah, tactical, whatever, says Lizzie. All right.
We're suggesting next season, if that happens again, we decide the match via voting on fashion. So keep that in mind. Take that into consideration, Kraz. I know you're an admin.
No, I'll write in the rules now.
Okay.
Yeah, put it right in.
There you go. Admin power. But anyway, time to dial the interview back. Drop 4, Krasnopesky. You guys kind of stalled at the starport, and then the push was a little disjointed. It definitely felt like that the assassins were a little late getting in. But the first question is, why did you feel you guys had to push in the first place when you had a cap?
I don't know. I don't know why the push was called. I wouldn't have called it personally, but it was. If the push was called, it would have been good to do it a minute later, because then we would have certainly won on caps.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a misplay, essentially.
All right, that's a fair assessment. But at the same time, did you feel that the ATMs might have forced your hand to try and make a push happen? Because at the beginning, it looked like it was doing some serious damage to the assassins.
It was only doing serious damage to the assassins because they were peeking too much. There was their own pilot error. It shouldn't have happened. They should have done like next to 0 damage because we identified the huntsmans early. But then people were trying to peek and get like SRM pop-tart shots off, and they got punished for it. So it was just individual pilot error that it didn't force us as a team to necessarily push. It was a good take, of course, ATMs. That was a good strategy. I'm presuming that 228 have seen our drops. We took basically a similar drop against EMP and decided that a good counter for it would be that. That's fine.
And one last, it looks like that you actually specifically tailored your deck to go up against a DACA push, specifically a DACA push close to that bridge. Did you get that inspiration from the videos? Was that the plan at all?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, as in we felt really comfortable taking what we were taking because we took watched the videos, and both Omen and EMP did that to each other and won both times. No, because we already were taking the Huntsmans on our previous drops on that map. I don't know if we've dropped it in any stream drops, but last time we played that map, we did use Huntsmans anyway, and we just used them to control Citadel. So we figured worst case they don't push, and we can just use the Huntsmans like we were going to do anyway. The Hunchback and the Direwolf were a gamble, but we were fairly certain that they were going to do the push. Also, we didn't have any really good ideas for how to deal with the push unless we took something really heavy to stop it like that. So we figured we kind of had to do that, like just go all in.
Okay, now drop 5, Krasnopesky. Toaster and I surmise that the position of your lights, especially in the mid game, kind of helped stop the LRMs. Was the positioning of the lights deliberate when you guys were in the middle of the city, kind of facilitating from the brawl at range? And was that position also might have been why you were a little more hesitant to just go after one of the 2 Lerm boats who were very distant from each other during that fight?
Do you mean the Lerm boat that was sitting like right at the back on the near spawn?
Yes, exactly, that one.
Well, to be honest, we knew there was a Lerm boat somewhere around there, but we didn't know exactly where it was. So we decided to ignore it because there's so much cover in Lower City anyway that it can do very little work. The light positioning was deliberate. Once we learned that they had like missiles and a narc mech and like ER large laser Gorse night gears, we had DACA. We just immediately said we're going to push them, which we did. And then I called the lights to move in with us, like through the park sort of area, to sort of start disrupting them.
And one last, it definitely felt like that that your team wasn't able to take as much advantage of the LRMs as you could have. It definitely felt like a gamble, especially running ATMs the drop before, knowing that Black Omen would probably have an idea that you default to some form of missile since it worked pretty successfully last drop. Why did you decide to keep the LRMs in this drop? And what was the plan going into this drop with a situation like this, and what wasn't properly executed?
I guess I'll take those 3 points in order.
Yes, please. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so taking the missiles, I would treat ATMs and LRMs as separate beasts. I mean, I don't know if teams strategizing against us said, oh, it's 228, they bring missiles, and they just lump it together, but we really try to apply them for different scenarios. So in the first drop, we took ATMs because we wanted to deal with Brawl / be able to punch up close. In that drop, we took LRMs because we were planning on putting down guys at range. Like, we really built the deck to handle standoff from Upper City because, like, that's what almost every team has done up there. And we also knew that we didn't really have a lot of good tools left. Like, we used all of our Huntsmans and stuff like that. A Brawl deck or a Daka Rush from Team 2 is really tricky if you don't have the Bloodass and Mad Cats, which we used up in the first drop. So, yeah, we were kind of banking on them taking range. And then, obviously you take a gamble and it doesn't pay off. You die in flames. But yeah, it was really funny because right before the drop started, we were saying, like, I think they're out of Dakamex. Well, actually, they have 2 Bloodass and 1 Mad Cat, and I think 2 Vulcans, and they haven't used Piranhas yet. Maybe they'll take that. And then they took, like, almost every mech we listed. So, yeah.
I presumed you were going to take Annihilators.
Yeah, no, we just...
didn't use them.
We kind of decked ourselves into a corner, and I don't think we gave enough attention to the possibility of a rush coming from that side.
Yeah, but
it was actually designed to be a rush deck, by the way.
Was or was not?
It was not. No, we were just going to trade from Upper City, but then as soon as we identified the mechs you had, we said, oh well, I guess it is a rush deck now.
Yeah, we also planned on the Arctic Wolf being able to hold caps on the bottom, but that many fast movers plus the fact that it actually isn't that great against Vulcans made that kind of moot.
Well, you know what? It's something that's very underrated. It feels like a lot of people just assume that LRMs, you can kind of slow trade them, but it feels like Black Omen, you definitely set the standard on how to beat LRM decks. Bring AMS, bring ECM, and just try and get in their face as much as possible to mitigate their damage. It felt like that was the most successful way. But anyway, I'm done asking questions. Toaster, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, I mean, I don't have any questions. It's just very good games, interesting to watch. I'm a little memey on the HPG drops. Maybe we'll have to reconsider HPG as a domination map, but
it was supposed to be exciting when our linebackers jumped and murdered the stuff outside, but then there weren't any.
Yeah, it was interesting to see. I didn't know you could jump linebackers up there. I guess it makes sense if you bring enough jump jets. But well played from both teams. Good job, Black Omen. I believe if we've done the math correct, you do have a very good shot at securing second in the division. But Blackwatch, maybe go scrim your DFA a bit tomorrow.
Secret.
Actually,
do we have to win 5-0 or can we win 4?
I believe you have to win 5-0, but I'm not entirely sure.
No, I don't think it's have to win 5-0. It's 4-1 or 5-0 division. Since looking at the score right now, Black Omen is ahead on points, and the point differential when we last checked was about 20. That's probably going to be narrowed down to I'd say 15 points, since right now it's 73-95. That's a 22-point split. Black Omen had the advantage in this drop, so they probably gained a couple of points. So that's a 20-point advantage around that 18 to 20 points. So really, if Black Omen can 4-1 their opponents, then that'll be fine. And actually, apparently I'm wrong, because apparently Black Omen's playing Smoke Adders, according to the chat.
Yeah. Smoke Adders? Okay.
We're playing Smoke Adders.
Okay, I had that wrong then. So maybe go
I had that
Smoke
wrong
Adders.
Too. Yeah, we were kind
they
of...
could play DFA just for fun.
Yeah.
EMP is playing 2-8 Death from Above in week 7.
Oh, okay. That's the week 7 match.
So is there going to be another round of teams playing, or is it just...
No, that's just a once-off for Div A, just because of the way the system worked out.
Yeah, EMP has to play an extra match.
The EMP's game won't count towards EMP standing on the leaderboard. Yeah. So it only counts towards Div B. But
exactly.
they've assured me that they'll play properly. They're not going to meme.
Well, we'll see about that. EMP loves to play by their own rules. They're kind of like the Yeah, they're
No,
kind of like.
if they meme, there'll be repercussions.
Oh boy, Krasnopesky. You've
Laying
heard it
down
here,
the
folks.
law.
Krasnopesky saying if DNP tries to meme, that's a paddler.
Oh.
So right now, any final words from the casters? I mean, not the casters, the team leaders.
No, thanks for the games. They were fun. I mean, the HPG ones were what they were, but apart from that, it was good. I enjoyed them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. It was a fun series, fun season. I think we learned a lot and hopefully didn't look too stupid.
It's okay.
Yeah, none of the matches look stupid. Thanks for showing up, guys. Thanks for the games. Thanks for the interviews.
Put it this way, one last. What you basically did was kind of the equivalent of Navi Dendi utilizing the bug between Pudge and Chen, hooking people to the fountain and getting a win that way, except, you guys didn't win. You just draw it out. You do whatever you can to win and use whatever tools are there. So both teams can't be faulted either way.
Yep. Anyways, I think that's it for us. I've got nothing else to say. Thanks for watching MW League Switch Chat. There will be more casts this weekend, I believe. I'm not really sure what all, but I know System Belmont and some of the other casters have been anxiously trying to get some streams in. But that's going to be it for me this season. I don't know about you, Sarmon. You have any last words?
I'm not sure if that's going to be it for me, but I definitely know that I'm going to miss my buddy Toaster. I'm going to miss you, buddy. There will be more seasons, but even still, we did some great work, and I was very happy to cast with you. You are my BFF on this casting team. You and I did a hell of a job together, and I hope in the future, once your school settles down, and I actually have I have an actual sleep schedule that we can make this work.
Yeah,
we can continue to make this work.
Always a pleasure, Saruman. But great cast. I'm sure there will be another season. I'll definitely be getting some matches in with you. But anyways, get what little sleep you can, Saruman. That's it for me. Goodbye, Twitch chat. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Yep. See ya.